Hello. Hi, everybody. Uh-oh, I'm hearing an echo. Give me a second to figure out where this echo is coming from. Hmm. Testing, testing. Hey, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out where is this echo coming. I'm gonna turn off my mic and turn it back on because I'm not sure if you all can hear this echo, but I hear this echo. Hmm. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. This is weird. Let me look at the chat and see if y'all can hear the echo. I've never had this issue before. I guess it's only on my end because I can hear it. Like everything I say, it's doing the echo. I'm going to leave and I'm gonna come right back, y'all. So don't go anywhere. We're getting started, but I'm gonna leave and come back. Okay. No echo. Yay. How are you guys doing? I apologize for the tech difficulties. I don't know what that was about. That was a little bit weird. Can everyone hear me? Let me know in the chat with a thumbs up. Am I coming through clear? You hear me clearly? All that's good because I want to make sure before we get going. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today for our class. This is not a workshop, but kind of. It's a little bit of a different format. If you've ever gone to any of my workshops, usually I don't do them on YouTube. I do them on more of like a different platform. What's it called? Webinar Jam or something like that. And it's mostly me just getting through my deck as fast and furiously as I can And then I try my best to answer questions at the end. But I didn't want that to be what we did today. I wanted to make sure that we were able to interact and talk in the chat as I go through some of the things that I know doesn't get touched on much, like when it comes to beginners and working from home. And I gotta tell y'all, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm gonna issue an apology to y'all because I think one of the things is when you know about a topic, we don't always sort of go way, 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 way back to the beginning where like when we didn't know a whole lot about it or didn't know anything about it. And I realized this last week. I was, just getting ready for bed and I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm like, you know what? All the comments that I get on my channel and, some of the things that folks will email and the support desk lead me to believe that there are a lot more people who need help with like the ABCs versus, the next steps. And I try to make things like, very like beginner friendly, but there are some things where it's like we really got to just start from ground zero and build up. And nothing is wrong with that because I started there and pretty much everyone else started there. And it takes a lot of digging here, going there, looking at resources all over the internet, to try and piece it together and make sense of it. And I'm like, you know what? To kick off this new channel, let's talk about the fundamentals, the ABCs of work from home, answer some very, very like beginner questions. We'll interact throughout. I have a deck prepared for us. I'm looking at y'all directly in the camera right now. But once I start looking at my screens, I'm not going to be making like direct eye contact, but I'll see y'all in the chat. Okay. So let me hear from y'all in the chat box below because we're going to be talking throughout this whole thing together. How are y'all feeling about work from home so far? Based off of what you've done already, how do you feel about, remote work and the job search and, whatever? Tell me your thoughts, okay, while I get my stuff together. And I'm going to be looking at the chat. I'm going to look at the chat in just a second, but, tell me what y'all have been feeling about remote work. So the deck that I have it has questions that I've seen on my YouTube channel. We're not limited to those, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to answer a lot of folks' questions with the ones that I already have prepared on my deck. And I'm going to take a look at the chat in just a second to make sure I see what y'all are saying. I recorded a video and I was thinking, ooh, I'm going to have so much time. I'm going to, drop my son off at school. I'm going to record a video. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to, talk to my team about like the different projects that we do and, stuff that we have going on. And I always, in the morning times, that's when like we're really talking heavily. And once again, I always overestimate what I could do in such a short amount of time. So I do have a video for y'all. My editor just sent it back to me. And let me let him know. I had to type something. All right. So let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Let me scroll back up. So I asked y'all, how are y'all feeling so far about remote work or, just the thoughts that you have on your mind? So Gamer Girl OG, let's see what Gamer Girl OG said. Me personally, as a mom with 3 autistic kids, is definitely necessary, but getting everything that's together on top of the fact that I don't have a lot of work history is what's making it hard. We're going to talk about it. Okay. Nikki says, I love it, but having problems selling myself in my resumes and interviews. Totally understand. That's something we're also going to talk about today. Discouraged with the job search. I understand. Okay. Hopefully, I can give you some encouragement. Marissa says, I will love work from home as medical records. Okay, so doing medical records. I shared some medical records positions last week, I believe. It was last week. I mix up my days. How can employer require 3 years of experience and still call it beginner friendly? We'll talk about it. Oh yeah. See, I'm glad that I looked through my comments and everything because let me turn this way so I can see y'all, angle myself and see the screens and everything. I have my dual monitor hookup going. I'm glad that you guys are dropping these in the chat box because these are the things that we're going to be getting into. And I saw those types of questions in my comments. So y'all are not alone with, your thoughts on that. Let's see what else. Sheila says, I don't know where to start. Hey, you're in the right place, Sheila. Glad to have you. Amanda said, new to at home job searching. Perfect, perfect place to be. I've never worked from home. I am extremely nervous. Totally understand. I've never worked from home. I still want to work from home. I live in Mississippi. It's a dead zone for work from home jobs and good internet. I've been applying for jobs for 5 years and it's always a scam. Katrina, we're going to talk about scams today because I don't want you to run into any more scams. Brand new to work at home. Do I dial in my resume to stand out or how do I dial in my resume to stand out for these positions? Discouraging. Everything I've applied to, I get nothing but rejection letters. Got one yesterday and this morning. Oh, the rejection letters. I am part of your resume, but like I said, I just have a problem selling my worth. Okay, so how do we convey who we are on the resume? That is the question. It can be discouraging when you see the amount of applicants for one position. Never work from home. Currently looking and my office is set up. You're ready, Wanda. Job gaps, haven't worked for over 20 years. That seems to be what recruiter sees and usually get passed over for that reason. Okay, Kim, we're going to touch on that too. Let me make sure I have that on my deck because that was something I need to address. Is it on my deck? Okay. Because I have 10 main questions here. Okay, I'm going to add it. I'm going to add that. So some of these questions might be a little bit out of order, but I'm putting ones that I know I didn't put on here in case I see them because I want to make sure that we talk about job gaps. That's a good one. Can't forget that one. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, a seasoned candidate, and I believe that's preventing you from getting hired. We'll talk about some companies that say they like seasoned candidates. Okay, it's not been easy with all the crazy ads. Crazy ads, what do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean. You have a question, okay, that's about a trial. Email the support desk, please, Miss Flawless. It probably what it looks like is if you can't log in, then you'll need to reset your login. So email the support desk, please, and a rep is going to take care of you. And I'll make sure before I sign off on the computer today. But yeah, they'll take care of you. Just email them. Veronica said, my problem is selling myself in interviews. I've had 2 interviews. One I've always been rejected from, and second one haven't heard back yet. Okay, yes, we're going to touch on interviews as well. Okay, Katrina, all right. And now equipment is dated, a trucker, and haven't been in the office. Okay. So I want to address everybody's concerns, and I may not have clicked on your comment, but I am seeing it. And remember, we're going to be interacting throughout this whole thing. So we're going to be answering questions, talking about the different topics as I go along the deck. You're not going to be, left hanging, okay, if I didn't show your comment on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and get my deck showing on here. and I'm going to, just go ahead and get going. So, yeah. So let me make sure I'm in presentation view. But yeah, that all these questions are really good questions. Okay, so why is it showing it like this? Oh, there we go. There we go. And so now it's showing my deck on both screens. Okay, I'm just gonna share it like this. That is bizarre. I promise you, I know how to use technology, but my screen just started mirroring each other. So I'm using my dual monitors, and both of my screens are showing the same things. So I don't know what I didn't even do anything. Why is it doing this? Last time I got on live, there were no tech issues. And then this time, now it's just wanting to show both things. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna figure it out. What is going on? Because I want to be able to see all while I have this up. My goodness, y'all. Don't be mad at me. Y'all got to forgive me. My screen is like both of my screens are doing the exact same action, and all I did was click on my PowerPoint. So I do not know what just happened. And that just goes to show, even if you are tech savvy and you know how to use a computer, sometimes stuff just pops up. So, give me some grace, y'all, while I figure out how to stop both of these things from showing. Like my screens are showing the same thing. I'm just going to hit present and see what happens. So I'm presenting on both screens. I don't want to do that, but I'm just going to see what happens. Okie doke. All right. And I'm seeing the same stuff over here as I'm seeing over on this one. Okay. But see, the issue is I can't see y'all in the chat. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I am going to leave really quickly and I'm gonna come back. Y'all do not go anywhere. I think if I leave the studio and maybe I restart, I'll fix it. But please don't leave, y'all. I want to get into this. So I'm coming right back. Give me like 2 minutes. Go get you a glass of water or something, but don't turn off the computer. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right. I am so sorry, y'all. I am so sorry about that. We're good. Can y'all hear me and see me okay? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and see me. Give me a thumbs up because I want to make sure I'm back. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. Thank you guys. Okay. I have no clue why my dual monitors started doing that. I really don't know, but we're moving along here. Okay. So we're already 24 minutes past the hour, and I do not want to waste any more of y'all's time. So I have my deck up, and I want to try and, show the whole thing without all the other stuff, but I'm scared to press that button. So we're just going to have the deck up on the other screen, and it'll get the job done. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we can get rolling. Okay. Share screen, share window, share. Yay! All right, let me know if you guys can see it. Y'all see my deck, the PowerPoint? Okay, cool. All right, so we're talking about work from home 101, and y'all already have really great questions, and I'm excited to try and cover as much of this stuff as I can. And if you notice, I didn't tell you when class ends today. I don't want this class to be too long, but I don't have to be anywhere for a few hours. Now, I don't know if I can go that long, but I'm going to try and get you guys in and out. And if you guys want to hang around, you have more questions, I don't have to go anywhere too quickly. So let's get to it, okay? So we're going to talk about like very beginner friendly work from home questions. And I told you guys, there is no dumb question. There's no too simple of a question. And I have on my deck some of the questions, like I said, that I saw in my comments. Now, the very first one that I think we all need to address is who can work from home? This is something that a lot of folks have a question about. I saw in the support desk someone asking about, hey, I've been working from a factory for years, or I've been doing McDonald's for a really long time. Can I work from home? Yes. The only types of jobs that you can't do from home are like first responder jobs. Okay. And that's the easier way to think about who and what can be done from home. So, no, you can't do surgery from home. No, you can't, arrest people from home, obviously. But there are medical work from home jobs. There are nurse work from home jobs. I think I touched on that in the last live or 2 lives ago, where someone had asked about nursing jobs. And I'm going to get that blog post up ASAP with some of those jobs that I have already found, or companies that will hire you to be a nurse. So you can do stuff like that from home. And even if you've never worked in an office setting, like a lot of folks have done retail. I worked at Kmart and Sears. I worked at a grocery store. And those were the jobs that I had done before I got to college and while I was in college. And even with never having done an office type position, you still can work from home. So to answer the question, unless you are arresting people or doing surgery, or you're a scientist in a laboratory, there is a work from home position for you. You just want to try to find something that's going to best match what your experience says and what you want to do. And for example, taking somebody who maybe you worked in a factory. Okay, there are a lot of skills that you have gained from working in a factory. Maybe you're on the assembly line. So maybe you're part of a larger, set of things that have to happen. Well, you've worked in a team environment. You've worked in a matrix environment where you have people higher up. You understand how to do conflict resolution. Maybe, the thing got to you and you're supposed to put your part on, but the person before you didn't put their part on. Well, you understand how to resolve conflicts because you had to go fix that before you could do your work. Think about all of the things you've ever done in a job. Think about everything. Don't try and put any thing on it. Just think about, what did I do in that job? And then think about, does that show that I know how to work independently as well as in a team environment? Does that show that I know how to work in a matrix environment? That's a fancy word for, there's different people above you, and then there's different teams with their own people and hierarchy. Have you ever done anything in that scope? If so, then you have experience. And even if you've never worked in an office setting, don't not put your experience on your resume. So I'm going to look at the chat right now because I told you we're going to be interacting all together. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. Okay. All right. So who can work from home? You can work from home. Yes, you can work from home. Okay. So hopefully that clarifies who. Now, another question people have is, do I need certifications or a degree? It depends on what kind of job. Work from home is no different than if you were to go into a brick and mortar location. It's two different worlds that are parallel. So just like how you can work a job going into an office or going into a factory or going, to a place of business and you don't need a degree, when you do it from home, you also don't always need a degree. When you work, in a specialty type position, something that requires you to have knowledge about something, then yes, that's when certifications and degrees come into play. So there are jobs for people who don't have a degree and people who do. There are work from home jobs for people who have advanced degrees. There are master's level, doctorate level, professional level work from home jobs, just like there are work from home jobs that are no experience, okay, little experience, entry level, which by the way, entry level can mean anywhere from 1 to 4 years. And sometimes companies will use entry level describing 1 to 5 years of experience. So no experience and entry level are two different terms, by the way. Most times entry level is 1 to 4 years. Once you get into the 5th year, you get into more of like that mid-tier level of experience. So that's something that I think confuses a lot of folks while we're on the topic, because no experience really means no experience. Sometimes companies will say no experience. Sometimes they'll say 0 to 2 years experience. If they have 0 there, then that's no experience friendly. If they don't mention years of experience and they also don't mention needing to have certain education or skills, but it would be nice to, then depending on how it's worded, that could also mean no experience friendly. And in that case, again, no degree, no certifications. But if you are looking at jobs that mention, we're looking for someone entry level or someone who has 1+ years or whatever range they give you, And even if they don't throw out a number, but they say you need to have this type of knowledge as a requirement, then that would mean you need to show up with some type of experience. And in that case, certifications and degrees may come into play. And sometimes they'll just outright tell you you need to have a degree. So let me look at the chat and see how y'all are feeling about this so far. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so if someone doesn't have a high school diploma, you'll also see companies will accept a GED as well. And then I will tell y'all, I have seen some companies not require you to have a diploma, or a GED. That's very few and far between. I would say out of all the leads that I've shared, and I think I'm on video 1001 on my main channel. I just crossed that 1000 video mark the other day. Out of all of those leads, and then the ones that did not make it to my channel, I've probably seen 10, maybe 10 jobs mentioned. If you don't have that, work experience will suffice. But I will tell you, you are going to have so many more doors open because, the majority of the jobs that I post only require you to have a high school diploma or GED plus your work experience, and that can substitute for education. There are GED programs for free in just about everyone's town. And while we're talking about this, because like I said, this is beginner friendly, I'm not going to skip over this. Give me a second because I'm going to do a little Google search and I'm going to see, just for example, GED classes near me. And I'll share my screen when I find something. Give me a second. I'm going to look. I'm on Google. So online GED classes, some of them offer it for free. Most of them offer it for free. Free GED classes near me. Find in-person GED classes near you. I'll show you what I find. I just want to look at this first. So I'm going to type in 30. Okay, I'm going to share my screen just so y'all can see what I'm looking at. I need to make it to where I can switch over. Okay. All I did was type in free GED classes near me, and it took me to GED.com. Seems pretty legit, and it said find in-person GED classes near you. So I just typed in an Atlanta zip code, and it gave me all of these different places that I know about all of these that they have listed here. And these are locations where you can get GED or take GED classes. So let's see, Cobb County School District, all campuses. I'm going to click on that and we'll see what does it say. What does it say? I wonder if I do a Control F search. GED. Okay. So it's something about adult learning, parents and students, community. Let's see, maybe if I type in GED up here. GED programs. Okay. All right. And so, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good information, I'm sure. They give you the hours, they give you a number. Center for Family Resources, GED. Okay. The website. So, like, they give you information, and I would just call one of these numbers that they have here because it looks like they have a bunch of different locations. And I would call them and I'd just be like, hello, hey, I'm interested in getting my GED. What do I need to do? How much do I need to pay? Is this free? You know, ask all the questions, basically, what I'm saying. And they'll let you know if that, you know, if they have it for free or if you have to pay something. But there's resources out here. And I know of the who is it? The name of it's a community college in my town. Okay. They do free GED classes. So likely you will find something close to you that you don't even have to pay for. But if you do have to pay, it is worth every dime because once you do get your high school diploma or your GED, you know, once you get your GED, which is the equivalent of a high school diploma, you now will be able to apply to so many more options. And that's like a hard requirement for most companies. So, you know, let me look at what y'all are saying in the chat because I was looking at that. Oh, thank you guys. Y'all talk about the 1,000 videos. I've been putting in that work. Okay. And all the questions that y'all have right now, I'm going to come back to them. We're going to see all of that. So I wanted to show that because that's another beginner question too. You know, where or who and what offers GED programs. I guarantee you there is one in your town near you. So I'm gonna go back to the deck, but to, you know, wrap up that question about do you need certifications or a degree? Not all the time. And one other thing, someone had asked about, well, do I need certification to get into data entry? No, you don't need a certification to get into data entry because data entry is more skill based. Now, if you're getting into specific fields that have data entry type work, that's a little bit different. So, for example, maybe the job is telling you that you need experience, you know, following HIPAA guidelines. Okay, if you've never worked in a medical setting or a healthcare setting, you probably would not have that, you know, HIPAA type certification or what is it? Let me actually make sure because sometimes people learn about HIPAA while they are HIPAA compliance while they're working. And let's see, is there a place where you can like get some sort of certificate? I'm Googling this. Y'all would know better than me because I've never worked in healthcare. HIPAA compliance certification. HIPAA training and resources. I'm going to share my screen here because I'm looking at a government website. And you'll see what I'm looking at. Okay. So I just Googled HIPAA certification. And I wanted to try and go to the most reputable website that I could. And anything.gov is government, you know, a government issue website. So it says US Department of Health and Human Services, training materials. Okay, it's talking about HIPAA. All right, helping entities, blah, blah, blah. That's not a whole lot of information. Okay, let's see. Let's click on this. Okay, health IT privacy and security resources for providers. HIPAA and you, so education and training for providers and professionals. Online modules on HIPAA privacy, security, and breach notification rule compliance. Oh, let's click on that. Page not found. They must have moved it. Let's see if they have a different one. I'm going to see if I can type in HIPAA training on here, because that would have been perfect if they had like some sort of like online module. HIPAA training. Maybe they moved it to a different page. HIPAA basics. Okay. All right, so like an overview. What else do they have? Security risk assessment videos. Okay, that's helpful. So y'all get the point here. They have so many links on here. I'm sure you can find it much better than me. If I took my time. Training games. I like games. What else do they have here? Yeah. So it looks like a lot of these pages may have been like archived or something. But this was just the first Google search. I literally spent just a couple minutes looking at this stuff. So you can just Google and see what they have for you. Auntie A says she learned HIPAA when she was a chiropractic assistant. The doctor paid for the class and we attended via online. Awesome. So yeah, sometimes you can get that, just from a position that you're doing. Maybe you don't have to foot the bill yourself. That's always nice when our employer can foot the bill. I'm all for it. So just take a look on good old Google and see if you can find resources, because, we see that the health website has all sorts of, links and stuff, and maybe we can give ourselves sort of like a crash course. Because when I see HIPAA knowledge as a requirement, I'm not going to say never, but I don't always see it say, HIPAA certification, just needing to know HIPAA compliance things. So you might be able to get away with just doing a self-training using the hhs.gov website to learn HIPAA, so that when you do put on your resume, HIPAA compliance, you do know that. And if it ever gets brought up, oh, well, I went to hhs.gov and they have all sorts of HIPAA stuff on there. And they're going to be like, okay, we're impressed because you're a self-starter. See how that works? You didn't miss the live. We're still in the early questions. I had so many tech issues. You didn't miss anything. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my deck so we can continue on. Okay, so there's a lot of information that we can take a look at on good old Google. Okay, so let me pull my deck back up. All right. Okay, so we just talked about certifications and degrees. Okay, so what types of jobs can be done from home? Okay, I kind of touched on that with the first question that we looked at. Who can work at home? Pretty much everybody except for like a first responder or a surgeon. And we touched on the jobs. So once you have that knowledge of who can do it, then you can really think about all the different positions. But to be more specific, just about anything in healthcare, every single level of healthcare outside of like I'm doing surgery and operating, you can do from home. We had talked about the example of nurses. If you work in marketing, if you work in human resources, if you work in public relations, If you've ever done anything in the food service industry, there are jobs online that, would be great for you. Matter of fact, one of the leads that I shared today is for a food company. I hope it is still available and everything. So there's all sorts of jobs that you can do from home. Now, one thing that I do want to touch on that you cannot do, okay, you cannot do from home, nothing legit, is something only from your cell phone. I get asked about this all the time. It frightens me a little bit because so many people over the years have asked, is there a job that I can do just from my cell phone? I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to have a computer. Okay, just from my phone. And there's nothing legit that you can do just from your phone besides surveys. And early on, when I was first starting my channel, I used to try out all of those like little survey taking websites because, I started off the same way y'all have started off with watching YouTube videos, Googling, getting information. And I tried out those surveys. Waste of my time. You will be sitting there all day long answering a million questions and you haven't even reached $10, which last time I checked, that was the threshold before you could have it sent to your PayPal or something. It's ridiculous. So, no, there's nothing that you can only do from your phone, but sometimes jobs will have two-factor verification requirements. And so you'll have to download the two-factor app on your phone, but you're literally just clicking a button so that you can sign into your systems. And when I worked and did a rise for a hot second, that's what we had to do. We had to log in to, what was that system called? I forget what it's called, but like there was some sort of like thing we had to log in so that we could access the dialer because we were taking calls via the headset on the internet and we could access a bunch of different stuff. And they had two-factor verification where you had to use your phone to get past the security step. So yeah, you might have your phone involved, but it's not on your phone that you're working. So you absolutely need a computer. I don't want to jump ahead of myself because we're going to talk about equipment, but just think about all the different things that you might be interested in doing. And 9 times out of 10, it is available for you to do at home. I have in my head like a top 10. One of my top 10 leads that I really liked was probably 2 years ago now. There was this remote security job. I'm going to see if I can find it on my channel because some of these companies I will stalk and I will check and check and check to see if they have that lead that I may have shared one good time. And it could have been 3-4 years ago, but I always check back. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I'm searching on my YouTube channel. And I'll share my screen if I can find it. I think it was like a loss prevention job from home. Let's see. Oh yeah, it was this one. Okay, let me share the screen so y'all can see it because I want y'all to see. I really did share a job where you could do like at-home security. Okay. So first of all, I was very pregnant in this video and you can see it in my nose. But it was a loss prevention job. Yeah, it was Envision Careers. It was a part-time loss prevention job. and you would just be watching the video, like the video of the company or the store, like restaurants and stuff. That was this job. How much did it pay? How much was it? And it was part-time. I forgot it was part-time. $15 an hour. Yep. Employee theft. Yeah, you were watching for employee theft. That's like one of my top 10s. Like that was one of my top 10 favorites because I've never seen anything like that. And occasionally you will come across really unique positions like that, but you have to be like always watching. And it's not every day or every month even that you'll come across just like gems of a work from home job. But yeah, that was one of my faves. Yeah. So you can do a lot from home. Okay, next question. Can I work at night? Yes, you can. Yes, you can work at night. But the catch is, can you catch one of those night jobs? And I'll also let y'all know there are, okay, so let me see if I can get my pen. Will my pen work on here? And if it doesn't work on here, I'm gonna pull up a different screen because I'm a visual person and I like drawing little pictures. So if my pen doesn't work on here, I'm gonna make my pen work or pull up a whiteboard. Give me just a second. How are y'all doing in the chat? Told y'all we're gonna be interacting. It's gonna be like we're sitting here in class together. So I need y'all in that chat because I am looking at it occasionally. I'm trying to see if my pen is gonna cooperate. If not, then it's okay. I'll just type it out. Y'all are doing good. Okay, good. Gotta make sure y'all are all right. Okay. All right. So, okay. Y'all are doing good, good. Okay, I'll just open up a little Word doc. Or can I make a little box right here? Oh, even better. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, I can type it right here. Okay, so what I was just about to say to y'all is there are a bunch of work from home job leads posted every single day. And one thing that I know that most people aren't aware of is there are job leads that are available, for example, US wide, or they're available in multiple states. But then you'll also have job leads that are available in just your state. And sometimes they'll even get super specific with job leads being available within like 50 miles of a location. So I'm going to type out what I just said so that we have it on the screen. So there are US wide remote jobs. There are state or states, remote jobs. And then there are even jobs that are available in like a 50-mile radius, for example. Okay. So when you're looking for night jobs, because I'm bringing it back here, oftentimes when I see nighttime availability, it'll be very limited. Like it'll be available in just one state, or maybe the night position might be available in like 5 states. I had seen a lead probably like 2 weeks ago. It was for a nighttime position managing a parking deck at an airport, and you'd be doing like customer service type stuff. That was for a very specific location. I want to say maybe it was Virginia. I can't recall. I want to say. And it also had a requirement where you had to go into the office for like a week or 2 week training. But after that, it was 100% remote at night. So you'll find real, real interesting finds like that when you're looking for night jobs or even remote jobs in general. This doesn't just apply to at night. What I just typed here, like where you'll find jobs and whatnot, this applies to every remote job. But I'm just telling you, in my experience, seeing a lot of nighttime availability, oftentimes it's very limited. It'll usually be between like a state or a couple that they'll hire in, or you need to live like within 50 miles of Alpharetta, Georgia, for example. So that's why it's important to search, not just US wide, but even search for remote jobs in your specific location. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. So Jersey by Nature said, I'm looking for night work also. I take care of my husband and can't work daytime hours. Yes, and there's so many reasons why people want to work at night. That's a reason that I've heard from a lot of folks who are caregivers. I've also heard from people who want to homeschool, that they try and, do an opposite schedule from their spouse. So maybe like their husband has to get up early and go to work, and, the mom will homeschool the kids. And then when the husband gets home, he takes over taking care of the kids. And then, the mom will work, like the nighttime kind of shift. So there's a lot of reasons beyond, that people want to work at night. But here's the other thing about that. Even when you are working at night, and I already know you guys have this question, well, what about training hours, Delilah? It is very rare that you will find a job that is going to have training hours outside of your typical 9 to 5, 8 to 4 business hours. Maybe you find a job where the company's based out of California, and because they are, on, Pacific Standard Time, the training for the job might be, if you're on the East Coast, 11 to whenever. But it's very, very difficult to find any training that's going to go beyond that sort of like 3 to 4 hour, frame of starting the training. So if it's 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, maybe 10 to 6, 11 to 7, but you're going to be hard pressed to find anything beyond that. And I've told multiple people before, and maybe you've heard me mention this, but when I did that Arise gig for the hot second, our training was from 3 to 7. And this was when I was just feeling out remote work. I didn't know most of the stuff that I know about remote work now. I was just feeling it out, testing it out, seeing what was going on with it. And it didn't occur to me how big of a deal those training hours are. Do I know if Arise offers training hours like that? I don't know. I never look at their website anymore. Some of my first videos were about Arise and, my experience, and then like other similar companies. So maybe check there. I don't know, but I really don't talk about them anymore on my channel outside of those videos from years ago. So maybe check there, see if they have any training hours outside of traditional business hours. But you're going to have to work out how are you going to do that training if you're trying to do a night job and you already have a job. Now, if you don't already have a job, it's not a problem. But if you do have a job or you aren't available during traditional business hours, that's going to be something you have to work out. Just letting y'all know. If I find something that has training hours outside of traditional hours and it pays $5 per hour, I'll still tell it to y'all. I'll share. Okay. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let me scroll back up. Can I provide a list of work from home legit sites? So we're going to get into scams in one of these slides, but to answer your question, the mega list of jobs is basically what you're looking for. Those are all companies that I have shared on my channel or researched and we added to them. The mega list of jobs has transformed over the years. I started off with just finding a bunch of companies that will hire you to work from home remotely and added it to them and to that list. And then I said, wait a minute, let me take all these back because I only want to add the ones who maybe I've shared on my website or, we have like done a bunch of digging. And so those companies on that list, I can 100% say I have vetted, but I'm a stranger on the internet. Even though we're all having a good time, always verify. I forgot what the saying is my husband said, but something about believe but verify. I don't know. He was repeating something. I'm like, what? But anyway, let me show you the mega list of jobs. Maybe y'all know what saying I'm trying to think of. Confirm but verify, or trust but verify, something like that. So let me show you the mega list and I'll pull it up. Oh, Joanne said trust but verify. I'm like, whatever. I don't even know what we were talking about. But let me show y'all the mega list. So in case y'all have not seen the mega list of jobs, this is on my website, remoteworklife.co. And the mega list of jobs is where I add all of the companies that I share on my channel. So you can come here and you can search for some keywords, or maybe you can even search, like you can search for a company's name. So maybe you're entertaining a company and you want to apply. Has Delilah ever talked about them before? And you can search here. And then I have the link to the careers page. There's 537 companies on here. And so you can find something. And the way you use the mega list of jobs, like I have simple 1, 2, 3 instructions here. But this is the beginner class. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to demonstrate. Let's say you want to check out 1-800-CONTACTS. You would just copy the link. And then you would just go here. Oh, hold on. I'm not sharing that tab. I opened a new tab. Let me make sure I'm sharing the tab that I'm looking at. Okay. So I just copied and pasted the link of, the 1-800-CONTACTS. And so now I can just check out their careers and see what they have. Some of these links go directly to their careers page. Some of them you just have to scroll down and click on it. And then I can see, okay, do they have anything remote today? They did have a remote position that closed on me before I could post it. This was 3 weeks ago. I was going to share it. This happens all the time, by the way. It takes a lot for me to get y'all these leads while they're still open. And so right now they don't have anything. So then you say, okay, all right, let me see about 1-800-Flowers. Let's see if they have something available for me right now. So then you'd paste 1-800-Flowers and you would check them out. And then you'd go down to their careers area. And you see, well, do they have anything remote for me today? And you can click on seasonal or career opportunities. Let's see. Okay. And so we can see they probably don't hire in a ton of places. We can save ourselves some time by saying, hey, is my state here? And I'm in the great state of Georgia. And I can see, do they have anything remote for me? And we can scroll down and take a look. Okay. Let's see if they have anything remote. I'm just going to type in remote. Type in work from home. Is this work from home? Let's see. I don't think this could be work from home. No, it's not work from home. See what else they have. Maybe they don't have anything work from home right now. Probably not. Let's see if they have anything work from home, period. I'm going to clear the states and see if anything comes up. Oh, there was something that said work from home right here. So they have something in Oregon. Let's take a look. This is a work from home position. All right. So, if I'm in Georgia like I am, right now, 1-800-Flowers doesn't have anything for me. But this is an example of how, there's a position that's work from home, but it's only for a state. It's state specific. So I just want to do a demo of how to use the mega list of jobs to answer your question. But yeah, so let's keep on moving along. Honey Brown said, I like sorting the mega list by types of jobs. Makes things easier for me sometimes. Yes, you can do that, and I love it. You can definitely sort by type. So hopefully that helps with, the list that you're looking for. Nikki said, when I have someone say that they are interested in me for a job, I reply, please provide the job title, name of supervisor, address of the company before I ever release any information. Are you talking about when recruiters reach out? That's also a good point of discussion. So sometimes, like especially on LinkedIn, if you have on your LinkedIn open to work, there's a little circle thing that can go around your picture, and that will let recruiters and people out there know that you are open to work. Sometimes people will reach out, recruiters will reach out. And the proper way for a recruiter to reach out versus something that might be a scam is recruiters will say, hey, I was looking over your profile and you can have a resume on there. And I think you would be, a good fit for this position. And then they'll send you the link and you'll still have to go through the application process. That's how recruiters operate on LinkedIn. We're talking specifically about LinkedIn right now. I'm going to talk about email too, but put in your mind, this is about LinkedIn. That's how recruiters operate on LinkedIn. You still have to apply. Now, if someone reaches out to you on LinkedIn and says, hey, I have a job for you, then I would just be like, there's a lot of people applying for jobs. Why would you have a job just for me? And my mind would say scam, and I wouldn't even waste my time with it. So I would say that's a scam, and I would move on. Because there are so many applicants out here that no one's going to just offer you a job without you even interviewing or before that even applying. So that's how recruiters work versus how they don't work. Now, on these job board websites, you'll have where you can put your resume and stuff into, I guess, a pile somewhere. And that's supposed to allow companies to pull your resume and, oh, if you're a good fit for this, we can, match you up. That's a feature that most job board websites have, but that's a feature that most HR professionals don't utilize because they are getting so many applications for people who they know are actively looking for jobs that it's just not something that most human resources professionals use. They don't go pulling applicants from a pool that didn't even apply to a job. So just to make life simple, I've always just said, okay, if someone reaches out in my email saying, hey, they want to hire me for a job I didn't even apply to, I'm just going to write it off as a scam and move on. I don't even want to waste my time because they're getting so many applications. They post a job. Y'all see how quickly these jobs close? They are not hurting for people to apply to any of these jobs. Whether you think it's a good job or a bad job, these companies are not hurting for applicants. So they don't have to go fishing through resumes in some sort of pile over here that's not even that specific role. So I don't know if that is what you've experienced, Nikki, where it was through email or if it was through LinkedIn when they were reaching out, but you'll always have to apply even when a recruiter thinks you're a good fit. Yeah. That's a great point, an excellent point to bring up. So, you can always ask them for that information. That's easy information to provide. It's never a secret who you're talking to and what company someone represents. So, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to come back to the comments and stuff, but I want to move through some of these questions and I'll probably address some of y'all's questions. So another common question is, where do I find online jobs? See how all these things sort of lead to the next thing, and I've kind of touched on them. You can go to job boards. You can go to the Meg List jobs. You can go on YouTube. There's people like me on YouTube sharing jobs. Not all jobs are created equally. Not all job information is as useful as you'd like it to be. You can go a lot of places to find online jobs. But what you want to always do, no matter if you're getting the job from me, if you're getting the job from Simply Hired, if you're going to LinkedIn jobs, if you're going to Glassdoor, if you're going to Susie Sally's YouTube channel, what you always have to do, no matter what, is verify the job and make sure it is legit. Always. And twice on Sundays. Because there's a lot of scams out here. And you can't find a job board that is free from scams. Now, on my channel, I always do my due diligence to vet these companies. And if I ever have an inkling of doubt, I don't know, then I don't share it. And there have been plenty of great opportunities that I have found, but the companies are really small. They're like startups, and there's not a whole lot of information that I can find about them. And I pass. I say, this is a great job, but I'm not going to put this one out here. Now, when you are looking for a job, if you find a company that you're like, hey, I think this is great, my research makes them check out, yeah, they're a startup, but they seem legit, go for it. But I always tell folks when they're just getting started, there are so many companies out here that have all of these employees, and you can find all this information about them on their Glassdoor and on their website and on Google, to just focus on the big companies because there's plenty of them. So if you want to make life simple, just like how I said with, if someone emails me, I just say it's a scam. I don't even try and look into it. I don't want to waste my time. If you're looking for jobs and the company has like under 500 employees or something, just move on. Look for the big ones because there's a lot of big companies out here that you can easily verify. So anytime you have doubt, don't try and overcome the doubt. Just move on. And once you get more proficient with looking for companies and you get the whole vetting process down, you don't have to worry, so much. But when you're a new person to looking for online jobs, I wouldn't. That's just what I would not do personally. Yeah. Any questions about like where to find jobs? And I'm going to talk about the process of vetting them in another slide. I think it's a couple down here. Okay. So we'll keep going. So how do I apply for online jobs? Okay, I've gotten this question and I'm going to pull up a job lead right now and I'm going to show you how to apply to a job. So give me just a second. I'm going to go to a different job lead and I'm going to pull one up and we're going to see how to apply. And you might say, that's silly, Delilah. You just click the apply button and answer the questions. But you know what? It's a beginner class. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm going to I'm going to choose AAA. I'm going to go to their website. And I'll show you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. I just don't want any like too personal information to show up just in case they have my location and all that on here. So I'll share my screen, but I might have to pause it occasionally. Oh, let me drag this over here. Okay. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to apply to a job. So let's say you want to look for a job and you want to find a job to apply to. So I'm just at AAA's website. And I'm going to type in, or they have it right here. I can toggle it. That don't seem right. They changed this around. This used to be one of the hardest websites to navigate. Let me run that back again. So Georgia, I went here and oh, it's not showing both of my tabs. Okay, there we go. It wasn't showing this tab. I'm glad I looked at it. Okay, so they have a thing where you can toggle remote, but nothing shows up right there. I'm going to type in, actually, I'm just going to click on call center. See, this is a new update. Like I have a whole video from late last year where I show how to search on AAA. I guess I'll have to do like an updated one because they changed it around. But you can see this is available US wide and it says remote, but it didn't come up when I toggled that. So maybe they're still working it out. But let's pretend like I want to apply to this job, okay? I just wanted to pull up a lead. You hit the apply now button, okay? And so now I am going to create an account. I'm going to stop the share real quick because I'm going to create an account and I don't want my personal info out here. So give me just a second. I'm going to use one of my fake email addresses. Actually, I'll use my support email address. Creating a password. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at in just a second. Okay. Okay. So when you click on that, like when you click on I want to apply to the job, then it's going to take you to where you need to create an account. So I created an account, or I'm about to. And so now I'm going to hit create account. Okay. And so now it's going to take me here where I can start my application. And so I'm going to either autofill with a resume or I'm going to apply manually. For the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm going to click apply manually. Okay. And so it has this nice, helpful progress bar up here to let us know how long or where we're at in this process. And so, usually when you get to these applications, it's going to ask you questions, very basic type stuff. So, where'd you hear about us? AAA career site. People ask me, like, hey, Delilah, how do I put you on here? Most of the times, I'm not even on there. If they have like an other section, that's cool, but you don't have to worry about it. These companies, they can get in touch if they want to. And then, have you ever been employed? If yes, please answer, by auto, AAA. And no, the country. And you guys get the point, okay? You're going to put in the name, all right? And then you're going to put in your address and all of that. And then you would just hit the save and continue. So the next section would be your experience. And then they have application questions. So give me just a second because I want to put in some information so we can go to those next tabs. So I'm going to stop the share real quick. I'm going to put in my info. I'll bring the chat back. I'll bring the screen share back in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen again because I just filled out that information. Okay. And so now I'm on the second step, which is my experience. And so if we had uploaded a resume, it likely would have auto-populated this information. And you can see the little red asterisk means this is information that they are requiring you to enter. So you can also upload your resume. And I'm going to just put something. So my job title, customer service rep at ABC company. And I'm going to say I currently work here and I started working here way back when in 2019. I'm just making something up. I help people buy stuff. And you don't want to fill it out like this, but I just want us to see what happens next. Anytime they ask you a question, you really want to put a good, description of your role. And that's something you could copy and paste from your resume because all of that information is already there. And so education, I went to ABC University, my degree. I'm going to pretend like I went to ABC High School because it does give us an option to choose high school. I have a high school diploma and field of study. I don't know. I have a high school diploma. Does it have college prep on here? Let's see what they have. That's kind of confusing if you're, coming from high school. Let's just say American literature. Okay, and you can add some other stuff. All right, let's say I did anatomy. I took anatomy. Oh, you can only choose one? Okay, I'll probably do I'll just stick with American literature. I mean, oh, and then you can add another right there. Okay, for another education. But I'm just going to leave it blank here because I just want to see what's on the next step. Okay, so now we can move on to the next step here. And now it's asking us about application questions. Are you legally authorized to work? Yes. Are you 18? Yes. Are you 21? Yes. Okay. Will you now or in the future require sponsorship? No. That's typically a question for people who aren't US citizens. Okay. Anyone work there that you know? All right. Been employed? No. Okay. What's your minimum annual salary requirement? Now, if you get to this question, this is where you would want to go to Glassdoor or somewhere like that, or even check the job lead to see if they mention how much. That way you can kind of get an idea of what people are making in the role and what they expect to pay. I'm just going to say 38,000 because it says annual. And then I can upload some other stuff and, we got to read through that. Yep, save and continue. Okay, so this is where you can do voluntary disclosure. Some people don't like to voluntarily tell information about themselves. Some people do like to tell information about themselves. The choice is yours. You don't have to tell anything you don't feel like telling. So I'm not going to tell it. If I don't have to, I'm not going to tell. So I'm just going to check this box here because I have to. It's a little thingy. And so now I'm going to move on. So now we are on the self-identify. I speak English, my name, and then if applicable, I don't know what any of that means. And then today's date is the 26th. And then we need to read through all of this. And if you have a disability that they, link here or say, then, you do want to disclose that. And so they're not legally supposed to discriminate you or discriminate against you if you have a disability. They're supposed to provide accommodations and an equal opportunity to employment. That's what they tell you. So if you want to tell them about your disability, you can, or you can say, I don't want to answer. So you can choose what you want to choose. And I'm gonna hit save and continue. And so, I'm pretending I filled out all this information. I'm pretending I uploaded my resume and all the stuff that they wanted us to do. And so now it just wants me to look over my information, make sure everything is good to go, make sure that all the questions are answered properly. And then I would hit submit. I'm going to hit submit. Why not? And then what happens next? Congratulations, thank you, process completed. And so that's how you would apply for the job. That's how you would apply. And some applications are longer, some applications are shorter. And so the whole point of making a login is so you can come back and see your status. And, they'll let you know rejected or in process or, something, blah, blah, blah. And you can even withdraw your application, but, I don't know why we would want to do that. So I know I went through that whole process, but I want you guys to see what does it look like when you go through the process of applying for a job. And some, like I say, don't even ask you all those things. It's just like upload a resume, upload a cover letter, what's your name, hit submit. Those are everyone's favorites. So let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to go back to, is this where I left off? Okay, so back to where I had left off. Forgot to check my email for the notification. I've been applying to over 70 jobs since June. Wanted to ask if anyone has heard anything good about Continuum. I don't know if I've ever heard about Continuum. You know what? We're going to vet Continuum. That'll be a good example for when we get to the next slide where we talk about how to verify a company. So I'm going to put a little pin in this because we're going to verify Continuum. And I'm going to show you guys the actual process of how to, quickly, check out a company. Let's see. Yeah. I think we're talking about the mega list of jobs, sort by type. Let me go back to the mega list. And while we're talking about it, and I'll share my screen. Okay. So on the mega list, like there are some preset tabs at the top, but like let's say for example, you want to, and I just clicked on this, you want to see jobs that are like contractor jobs or jobs that are W-2, you can click this and it'll sort by, contract, and you can see all sorts of contract positions. And you don't have to look at it 10 at a time. You can say, I want to see 100 jobs at a time or 100 companies at a time. And you can sort it this way for contractor versus W-2. Let's say you're interested in customer service. You can type in CSR or customer service. Both are on here. So let's just start by CSR. So if you want to see companies that we have tagged as offering customer service, you can type that in and then it'll sort the list by just customer service roles or companies that offer them. And so from here, you can just check all these websites and see if they have anything customer service related for you. And so some terms we have both. So I'm going to type in customer. And then from here, you can see, okay, some of these are customer, support, customer success, customer service. You get the point, the different variations of customer. So then you can type that in and you can see it's sorted for just companies that we've identified as, typically having like a customer related type job. And again, I have it on 100 at a time. So I can just keep scrolling. And let's see if we get to the bottom. Okay. 100 of 177. So there's a second page. So there's 177 that come up. So that's how you can search and sort. Another example, if you're someone who is like, oh, I want to do data entry, any companies that you've tagged as offering data entry, you can type in data. Okay. You can type in data. Data. Why is it doing that? Let's see. Okay. Maybe if I do 100. Oh, one of those must be really long, and that's why it's making it go out like that. I got to get that fixed. Okay, I'll look at it 25 at a time. But so you can see data. So now I want to see who offers data entry or roles that will allow me to do like data processing. And so we can scroll through this and we can go through those companies. And how many do I have on here? I have 35. Okay. So it must be, okay, this one has a really long URL. That's why it's making it go out like that. Give me a second. I'm going to make a note so that I can get that fixed. Hold on, writing on a sticky note. Fix URL for Soleo. Help. Does that make sense, y'all? How to sort the mega list for what you're looking for? Let me know in the chat. I'll keep going through these. So what do you do if you have gaps in your resume? That's a good question, Lynn. We're going to talk about it. We will talk about it for sure. I'm not going to leave here today before we talk about gaps. Okay, several of y'all want to know about gaps. Joanne asked a good question. Had a problem yesterday with multi-plan when I had to upload a document, would not let me browse my file so I could add it to my application. So I'm not sure why that is, but companies have technical difficulties. Sometimes their websites may, not support having quite a few people on there at a time. Sometimes it could be they have closed the lead, and instead of it just not showing anything, you might run into a glitch like that. I really can't say for certain. I can't say for certain, but that is something that will happen from time to time. And if you can try and open another screen or refresh the tab and see if it works that way, that might fix it. But, sometimes those things happen, and it's not like we can contact the company. So I would try again. And if I can't get through, then I'll just try another lead, try applying somewhere else. Okay, that was helpful. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to the questions here because I want to make sure that I get through some of these before we get to the 2-hour mark. Okay, so the next question, so we just talked about how do you apply for online jobs. I did that demonstration. The next question is, do I need a resume? Do I have to submit a cover letter? Yes, you need a resume, even if you don't have any experience. And yes, I always recommend submitting a cover letter. Your resume is necessary. Like, there's no workaround to it. And if you say, well, I don't have any experience, well, how would I have a resume? There are other things that you can put on your resume. So, running back, an hour ago, how we looked at the HIPAA compliant stuff on the healthcare website, we saw, I could do my own self-guided training on HIPAA. Well, guess what? Even though you may not have ever worked, that is something you can add to your resume. Okay, your resume is, the story of your career. What have you done professionally? The facts of what you have done. And even if you've never worked in a formal setting, volunteer work counts. So if you've ever worked at a food pantry, a soup kitchen, you volunteer at your church doing different, outreach ministries, that's work. Okay, just because you didn't get paid doesn't mean it's not work. You had to still be a team player. You still had to work independently. There were still things you were responsible for when you volunteered. That absolutely can go on a resume when you don't have experience. And then, any self-guided training, any certifications you take upon yourself, your education, those are things that you absolutely want to add to your resume. So even if you don't have experience, you still need a resume. Now, some people, depending on who you ask, will say cover letters aren't necessary. Cover letters aren't required. I've seen plenty of people on the internet talk about, it's outdated. You don't even need a cover letter. You're going to run into many different schools of thought. The school of thought that I was brought up in when I worked with professionals in the HR setting and all of that, I had a class my senior year, my second semester, right before I graduated from college, where it was just all about getting ready to go into the workforce. All of the things that you need, making a portfolio, interview training, making your resume, making your cover letter, all that stuff. And then I would meet one-on-one with my professor because she also worked as a counselor in the career services department. And that school of thought brought me up and always write a cover letter. So that's what I tell y'all. And it's worked out for me. So I'll just tell y'all what has worked for me and give you guys that advice as well. And what I know has been working for people and what I have been teaching. So a cover letter is a great way to sort of edge out competition. It helps you talk about things that might not fit within the scope of what a resume is. And you can show your real enthusiasm for the job. And I will tell you, in my own experience doing hiring, Okay. I was just doing interviews this past Monday for a position on my team since I need another developer. A cover letter makes all the difference. And when it comes down between you and someone else, if you have a cover letter, that could be the deciding factor. And they're not difficult or timely to make. And speaking of which, most folks know about the remote resume builder software. So if you aren't familiar, the remote resume builder software has cover letters and resume templates. So you don't have to always start from scratch. And I can pull it up. Let me see where my links are. Remote resume builder. Okay. So I'll share my screen. Yeah, so this is the remote resume builder software. This is a software that, was created by me and my team because of this very common question. Like, a lot of folks are scared about making a resume. They feel like their resumes don't really do a good job telling the story of their career. They're not really sure like where stuff goes because not only is the information on your resume, supposed to do that job of telling, the story of your career, you also need to put it in the right location. You also have to make sure that it's formatted to where people can actually read it and find what they're looking for. So there's multiple facets to making a resume and a cover letter. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out a way where if people just do the one thing of making sure their information does a good job of conveying who they are, then the rest of the stuff can be handled by the resume software. And so that's where the remote resume builder was born. And so we do have a templates library. We're going to be adding some more templates. We're always going to be adding templates. Like right now, there's two different versions of customer service roles. And the difference is just how do you want to convey your experience? But all of these do the job of if someone was looking at your resume and they were hiring you, for example, a customer service job, what are the things that you would want to call out? How would you specifically want to phrase them? And that's what these templates help you do. So you're just sort of reverse engineering. You see a fully filled out cover letter, a fully filled out resume, and then you can see, okay, they phrased it like that on here. I did a similar thing. Let me try and, work my experience to, phrase it like that while also speaking specifically to the job that I'm applying to. So if you are someone who's like, I'm no good at resumes and cover letters, try out the software. It's $1 for 7 days, and then it's only $37 after you do the 7-day trial if you want to keep it. If you say, well, it was nice, but I don't want to keep it, you can cancel. And $1 will be all you invested. But I think it's at least worth a try. Let's see. What are y'all saying in the chat? We're going to talk about interviews. We're going to talk about it. Tamara said, what template would you recommend for executive assistant and marketing experience? So executive assistant could be like administrative coordinator. You could use that one. That's the closest to it. But I don't have any templates right now that would be good for a marketing role. So in our next drop, I'll make sure that I have a marketing template that'll be like entry level, like 1 to 4 years. So I'll put that on my little notes here. And then executive assistant, that does go beyond like administrative coordinator. So I'll take a look at, the differences and the duties that would speak more to an executive assistant, because that could be either you're like the head of the coordinators, or I've even seen like executive assistant could be something like a personal assistant, where like somebody's just so important that they have multiple personal assistants and like you're the executive assistant. So I'll have to research about, any differences there. Okay. All right. Let me get back to the deck, and I'm going to get to you guys' questions. We have a couple more here. So, yes, always submit both. Okay. So, another common question. All right. Don't beat me up, y'all. All right. I got to dodge your punches and kicks on the internet. Okay. But don't beat me up. But I have to tell you, because I see conversations around on the internet. And one question that people ask is, hey, I'm a mom. Can I watch my kids and work from home at the same time? Give me some jobs that will let me do both. I can't give you any jobs that will let you do both. Now, what I can tell you is if you are a stay at home mom who also wants to be a work from home mom, because being a stay at home mom is a full time job in itself. And if you want to work from home and be a work from home mom, you're taking on another job. Okay. So the two are full time jobs in themselves. And it's difficult to do two full time jobs at one time. In fact, I wouldn't recommend anyone do two full time jobs at one time, because something is going to be left by the wayside. And I can tell you from experience because I tried this. So my son just turned 2. He just turned 2 on 13th this month. 2 years flew by. But he didn't always go to school. We call it school. It's like daycare / school. They don't watch TV. They have a curriculum. They send us the updates of like, your baby counted to 3 today. Or, we did a sensory, bin or whatever they call them, that kind of stuff. And for 18 months, my son was at home with me. And I will tell you guys, that is when my hair started graying. Never had gray hair a day in my life. I may have had one hair there, but like this front section right here, like the little, money piece section, that went gray. Why? Because it's very challenging doing 2 full-time jobs at once. And on top of that, my job isn't, your traditional job where I'm supposed to be on a computer in an office with the door closed and no one can come and disturb me because I'm on somebody's clock. So when you think about working from home while being a mom, the proper way to think about it is, how can I find a job with a schedule that will allow me to transition from when I'm in mom mode and when I am in work mode? And somebody has to be there to watch the babies. That's if you have littles. Now, I should be very specific. This is if you have little kids. Okay. Now, if your kids are old enough to go in the kitchen and like pop something in the microwave and they know how to pick up the phone and dial 911, then this doesn't really apply so much to you. Like if your kids aren't going to do something crazy because they know you can't stop them, then this doesn't apply to you. And it just depends. You know your kid better than I know your kid. I don't know your kid at all. But if you have littles, like, 6 and under, maybe 7. I don't know. I have a niece who's 7 and she can do all the stuff better than I can do it. She's, oh, let me pull up YouTube. Let me pull up all this other stuff. So some kids, they're in different places. Not every kid is the same. So only you know if you're in a spot where I need someone to watch my child. I can't go in the room and shut the door for, 4 or 5 hours before I come out and check on them. If that's the case, then someone has to be there to watch your children. And what I will say is working from home provides you way more flexibility in your care options than if you were going into a location. So you might be able to get away with, making your schedule opposite of your spouse. So you never have to actually, hire or bring someone in, maybe your mom or your cousin. You guys hang out all the time. You might have someone in your family who's in college, who's going nearby. You can give them an extra babysitting job. Whatever way you figure out how to have child care, you might not want to send your kid to a daycare center or to school, but you can make it work and you have so many more options. And I have been a part of a lot of those mom groups, and I've seen people talk about, yeah, I work from home and I watch my kids and I do a phone job. And when people ask them, how do you do it? They say, I don't know. And I say, I don't think those people are being 100% truthful. And if they are, I don't think they're gainfully employed. I'm just saying, at some point in time, something's going to get you in trouble, So you can't just get up and go when you're working. And that's another thing, the expectations when it comes to, well, what does it look like when I'm working from home? Some people have jobs where it might be computer based and you're doing a bunch of, spreadsheets and work like that. So yeah, there's more flexibility with if you need to get up and go do something real quick, you can. But don't go into it banking on that. There's also, people who are doing something on the phone. Like if you're doing something on the phone, you absolutely can't just get up and go do what you want to do. One of my gripes that I talk about in those old Arise videos was the fact that you literally had to be glued to your seat. And I drink so much water. As you guys can see, I always try and drink, at least 4 of these a day, and I'm already behind. And I was in pain. Okay. Not to be TMI, but I was in pain because I can't just get up and go do what I need to do. I'm glued to that seat. Those calls kept coming. I had the headset on, but I'm just like, my goodness. So just keep that in mind. Working from home looks a lot like what it looks like when you go into an office and work. The only difference is the location. So the hours look almost identical in most situations. The fact that you have to have the same equipment and setup, it has to be quiet, that kind of thing. All of those things, are the same when you work from home. Don't think it's a free for all. Some people have it in their mind, once I start working from home, I'm just going to be watching TV and chilling, and then I'll do a little bit of work and I'll go back to it. It don't work like that. Does not work like that. Let's see what y'all are saying. Okay, so you're talking about where is that comment? I just seen it. Okay. Referencing what we were talking about, personal assistant, managing schedules, creating templates for job descriptions, etc. Okay, so more like a personal assistant. I got you, Tamara. If you have experience in a particular field, but it was 20 plus years ago, does that count? how to include in a resume, which you have to fill in that whole time to present then. So this is something that would apply to, people who've been working for a while. I recently researched, what is the going sayings about what to include, what not to include, because sometimes people change their mind. About 10 years is how far you want to go back on your resume. So if you've been working for 30 years, you would want to include like the last 10 years. And if for some reason the job that you are applying to requires you to have a decade plus experience, you better be in the C suite if they're asking for all of that, then, 10 to 15. But if you're like, I'm not trying to be in the C suite, then up to 10 years, that's how far back you want to go. Because you also want to think about like how much stuff has changed. Like stuff has really changed. I was just watching Reading Rainbow on Sunday. I was looking through Amazon Prime or whatever, and they had some, old shows on there. And I was like, I haven't seen this in forever. And I was looking at the first episode, and it was the first episode, it said like 93. I'm like, this looks so old. Like, I was born in 93. What does that mean about me? Like, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, we looked different. We dressed different. Folks acted and talked differently. It was crazy to see how, in my very own lifetime, how much stuff has changed. So, just using that as an example, 10 years ago, stuff was totally different. So we only want to put like the most, relevant, experience that we have in the past 10 years. And I know your question is about, well, I did that beyond 10 years ago. If you have that experience, maybe you could, how would you want to do that? I wonder what the field is. I'm almost certain that anything you've done in the past 10 years would have, relative or relevant experience for that. Maybe if you did publishing 20 years ago, stuff has changed. In that case, I don't even think it would be relevant to put something from that long ago if you were going to do something very specific in like a career, like I'm just throwing something out, publishing. If you haven't done it since then, it'd almost be like you'd have to start all the way from the bottom again because so much stuff would have changed since then. So it really depends on your industry, but I'm going to lean towards don't go beyond 10 years. That's what I'm going to say, Deborah. Don't go beyond 10 years. Okay. Okay, and then you said, yeah. Lots probably changed since 85 to 2000. So I don't even think it would help you, to be honest, because too many things have changed since then. So I just go 10 years back. And if it ever comes up, or you could also put in your cover letter, if you don't mind, giving them an idea about what your age could be. That's something you could also put in your cover letter. You could work it in that way. So that's one of the good things about cover letters too. It allows you to kind of, have some more wiggle room with what you tell versus what your resume says. Gamer Girl OG said, what about kids with autism? I think you might be asking about like, how to work from home. I mean, I would just think about, hey, what are my kids comfortable with and what am I comfortable with? You always want to be safe and not sorry. So if your kids need, someone to kind of be right there for them, then you would want to make sure that you have somebody to watch them while you work, even if they are, pretty old. I imagine maybe you're talking about like 10-ish. I would probably have somebody to watch or be there to, assist them. Okay. I'm looking at y'all's chat. Okay. So I think we've covered that. All right. So the next question is, oh, okay. I have that already. Working at night. We talked about that one. I don't know how I duplicated that one. And so, what do you need for your home office? So, it really just depends on what your home office um, requires. So, for example, I have this writing pad. You'll see this. This isn't the one that my tutoring position issued me. They issued me an older version of this. But this was something I absolutely had to have when I was a tutor. So my point is some positions require different equipment, but every position requires a computer. That's a given. And the good thing about work from home jobs, most companies do not require the latest and greatest. In fact, most companies are like 8 years behind in technology with what they're requiring from you. So it's actually really budget friendly to get your home office outfitted. And I mean, your office really just needs to be something you can set your monitor on, something to sit in that's comfortable. You don't have to get like a fancy chair. If you're going to do a budget friendly everything, just make sure that your desk isn't going to collapse if you've got two monitors on it. Some of these desks that they have at these stores is, everything, all the quality is just getting terrible. And I'm not even the person who's going to complain about that. But you can go to Big Lots and get you a sturdy desk. Okay, I would prefer Big Lots desk over Walmart's desk any day. I've purchased very cheap desks from both. And then, of course, if you don't want to go anywhere, there's good old Amazon. I'll show you guys my Amazon storefront. And you don't have to buy my stuff from Amazon. This isn't even my stuff. This is just stuff that Amazon lets me put in a thing to share with y'all in a convenient way. But I'll show my Amazon storefront. And I'll share with y'all, what exactly you would need. Okay. So all these items sold through Amazon. I receive a small commission when you guys buy something. But all these are very budget friendly. So I don't know if I can even pay my water bill with the commission I get from Amazon. But anyway, you see all the pieces of equipment. Let's start with desks, since this is what I was just talking about. Okay. So your desk, you don't have to get the fancy lift up and down desk. I recently just upgraded to this. Sometimes I like to stand when I do stuff. Sometimes I sit. I try to live as healthy of a lifestyle as I can, but I'm not, the healthiest person by any means. Now, some of these might be like just way too out of budget. Okay, let's scroll down here. All right, $40. I would say for $40, you can get you a decent desk. And if you like, white, you want to go for that sort of aesthetic, $45. You can get a $45 desk from Amazon. And if you go to Big Lots, let's see what Big Lots has. Give me a second. I'm going to go to Big Lots website because I've purchased a desk from Big Lots before. I purchased two. One second. I always want to have all your info on here. I don't like that. Y'all tracking me? Okay. I changed it to a different location. Okay, I'm going to share my screen what I'm looking at. Okay, so I went to Big Lots website and we can see what kind of desks they have and what kind of prices. I want to sort by low to high. Now they want to show me all this other stuff. Okay. So they have a $70 desk. Okay, so Amazon is beating them $80, and that doesn't look like it's going to hold much. You also have to consider the space on your desk. So when did Big Lots get so expensive? I was thinking $40, but I must be in the past. Yeah, so Amazon is actually the better option because we see that you can get a desk for 45 and 40 bucks. And these, you can actually see what it looks like if you have the computer screen on here and some of the other things that you would need. Now, if you can go for a bigger desk, I recommend it because I've, over the years, I've tried to figure out how can I do this as cheaply as possible, and you always end up spending more money that way in the long run anyhow. The more space you can get, if you can afford a little more, I would try and get either a bigger one like these. So this is a 55-inch, and you can see what it looks like with dual monitors on there. You'll have plenty of room. These are definitely shorter, 32-inch. You don't have a whole lot of room. I believe mine is like a 55-inch or something. I definitely have space for my dual monitors and all my other stuff on here. And yeah, so that's your desk. I think we get the point for the desk. So now let's take a look at the other things we'll need. So we said we need a desk. That's one thing we need. The other thing that we need is a chair to sit in. You don't have to get a fancy computer chair or anything, but I will say that the computer chairs have the built-in cushion and lumbar support and all the stuff that helps us be able to continue working for long periods of time. The type of chair you do not want to get, and I'm going to show you what type of chair don't get. I'm going to pull it up because I'm about to save somebody's back. Let me show you what type of chair not to get. I'm looking. Give me a second. I'm going to show y'all. Find a picture. I'm going to go to Home Goods. Not Home Goods, the Home Store, because they are good for having these little chairs. We're going to take a look at the Home Store together. Now my computer, my internet wants to go slow. It's not going to the website. Am I still clear? Am I still on here? I don't know if it's my internet or if it's just this one website. Are we still good? You guys can hear me and stuff? I don't know if my internet has timed out because I'm trying to go to the Home Store website and it's not loading. Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you, Sue, for showing up. I know I'm over 2 hours here. The replay will be available for anybody who has to go because I know we have things to do. We're grown, so I get it. I'm not sure why I can't connect to the home store's website because I want to show y'all all the different pretty chairs that they have that are gonna, you know, lead you to the chiropractor in a jiffy. I'm not saying don't get them. If you have to, modify them. Okay, I don't know why their website's not loading, and it looks like I'm okay on here. So I'm just gonna go to Amazon's website and find examples there. But the home store, the reason why I want to point them out specifically is because they are very good about having these really pretty chairs that don't have any support and everything is going to be on fire. So, okay. So something like this, for example, was the very first chair that I got to work from home. And I got this from Walmart for even cheaper of a price. It was like 20 bucks. Okay. And it was just very, very, very basic like this. This is not a chair that is going to be comfortable when you're pulling a 4 to 8 hour shift every day sitting in the same spot. Now, I made do with my chair that was similar to this. It was black. Okay. I made do with my chair because I put on, a pillow behind it and I got like a little cushion for the bottom part there. And I did all of these modifications to this chair. And I really could have just got me a decent chair to start with. So, even these chairs, like this does provide lumbar support. And you're never going to find the perfect chair, by the way, but you do want to try and get something that's better for you. Now, if you want to modify it, you guys can't tell, but I'll show you. I have this big pillow that's behind my back because I wanted a cute chair. So I'm not going to tell y'all I didn't get me a cute chair, but I'm not sitting here, pulling a 4 to 8 hour shift. Y'all can't see the full chair over there. I have a bunch of junk in this corner. Maybe I can move my camera a little bit without showing y'all all the junk that I skip pushed to the side. This is a very comfortable chair. And my camera, the exposure is overexposed because I have my window open, but I have a folding desk right there. You can't really see it. I have a folding desk that when I am putting in some serious hours back to back without getting up and like I'm glued here, like I'm pulling a shift, I'll just flip open that desk and I will sit there in my comfortable cushion chair and I will even add this pillow with it. And now I have a chair that's not going to send me to the chiropractor. You think I'm joking, but I'm telling y'all, I have messed up my back before trying to sit in these rinky-dink chairs. So I've gone on and on and on about chairs because I want y'all to understand, like, you're doing this long term. This isn't like a one and done kind of thing. So you really want to make sure that your home office is set up so that you can be comfortable and you're not aching. Now, the other thing that's important, okay, is you also want to consider getting a rolling pad too for your chair. If you have carpet, you're going to tear up your carpet eventually with these wheels. And I didn't even think about that. My brother was the one who had pointed it out in my old apartment. You probably need to get you a little rolling pad for your chair because you're going to tear up your carpet eventually. And thankfully, I never did wear it out, but I can totally see how with constantly moving this way and this way in your rolling chair that you're going to tear up your carpet, and especially if you're a renter. So this is something that, if you're a renter, you definitely want to get. A chair for big people? I'm not sure, but maybe just like armless. Like this chair is armless. That chair it has arms, but it's pretty wide. Um, let's see. I'm going to do a little Google search, or actually I'm going to search on Amazon. Computer chairs for. Oh, okay. Let me share my screen here. Oh, I clicked stop sharing. I just typed in computer chairs for big, and this is what came up. So I'm going to type in for big and tall. Okay, so they do have some for, people who are big and tall. $100 option. Oh, it has massage. Okay, I want that. Yeah, let's get massagers in our chair. Yeah, they have options. This one's 70. Okay. Yeah, so there's options. And yeah, there's lumbar pillows and stuff. So let me see. Do I have that added in here? Let me go to accessories. Yeah, I have that. So in the in my Amazon store, if you have a chair that needs some modifications, Amazon sells these lumbar and uh, comfort seat cushion and lumbar support. So I had that on my old chair, and it definitely helps. hmm But if you don't want to if you don't want to spend money on any of that, you can get you a big old pillow, and I found it works the same way. So, and something to rest your feet on. I didn't know this was a thing. I have this really old video on my channel. Let me actually pull it up for a second. Kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to show y'all something. Because I didn't know it was a thing that people like to sit on or put their feet on a pillow on the floor. I thought it was just me. Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay. All right. So this is a very old video of me. This is 5 years old. It says 4 years ago, but YouTube is always a year behind. So I give you guys this tour of my office. Oh man. All right. So this was this is embarrassing, but I'm telling y'all, I've, made progress and done stuff, working my way to, upgrading my equipment and whatnot. This was my tutoring setup. So y'all see that little pad? I wasn't telling y'all nothing I didn't do. I had a little pad. And this wasn't even my first apartment setup. My first apartment setup was in the living room right next to the TV because it was a one bedroom. This was when I got to a two bedroom and I could finally shut the door and do my tutoring and stuff. So that's what like the background and all this stuff was for. That's why I had these elbow pads, because I would literally be sitting there doing tutoring all day long. And so if you guys notice, this is a folding desk. It's not even a desk. This is a picnic table that I got from Walmart. And this was my black desk that I got from Big Lots. And then, like I show you, like I don't know why I give this whole spiel about my chair, because I had been going through bad back problems, y'all. That's why I'm talking about chairs right now. You can even do the elbow pad. I got tired of reaching my arm out to the desk, so then I found this thing where like you can just rest your arm on your armrest, and this is a mouse pad and it has wrist support. So I piecemealed all these things together when I could afford to. And that's why I say, hindsight, if I could have, I would have just gone out and got me the right thing from the start. But sometimes we got to get stuff as we get paid. And so, like, as I got paid, this chair got more and more fancy. And so, with the whole desk thing, with like the two desks. Okay, you can see it in this shot. Hold on a second. I just saw it show like the two desks pretty good. Maybe I can play it. Come on. I'm trying to get to the shot. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. So this was the desk from Big Lots. This was a folding desk where I turned it into an L-shaped desk. That's what I'm saying. If you can get you a big desk from the start, if you can get an L-shaped desk, if you have a bunch of stuff, then go ahead and do that. And that's the writing pad. That's the old one. So y'all see, I upgraded. This is my newer one. It's actually Bluetooth, but I just have it plugged up. But this was the first one that the tutoring company had sent me. And so, I had this. They sent me this little light thing. And then this was my headset. And, I have my little organizer and everything right there. So that's what, my setup looked like. And over time you can, improve and soup up your stuff and all that good stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to see what my old office looks like, this is a video still on my channel. It's crazy because I look so different. Like I started working out hard after that. So it's crazy. Wow. Okay. So how are y'all feeling right now? So far with the information that I've been sharing so far about office stuff. We're going to talk about headsets in just a second, but I just want to make sure I don't move on before y'all are ready for me too. But I'm pretty sure everyone's like, come on, Delilah, we get it. Okay, so headsets. So we talked about desk, we talked about your chair, we talked about some modifications that you can do. Okay, you need a headset. Okay, you need a headset. And you need a USB headset. These are great options that you can get from Amazon. I've not seen this on sale this low. You can get a great Logitech headset. Logitech is a great brand, and you want to go for the Logitech if you can. Ooh, this one's on sale too. If y'all need a headset, run and get you a headset, because usually these are about like maybe 22 to 25. So I know it's just a few bucks, but hey, every dollar counts. So you can get you a headset from Logitech. They're the premier brand. And but if you want to get an off brand, you can do that too. And there are two types of headsets. So there's the USB headset, and then there are these headsets that plug into a phone. Those are different. If you're doing a landline based phone job, then you would want to it's a 3.5 millimeter ending. So that's what you would need. And then they also sell like all-in-one combos. Let's see if I can find an example of that. All-in-one phone headset. I thought I had one in there. Okay, so there's all-in-one phone combos that you can do if for some reason you're doing like a job that is landline based, like a phone job where you have to take calls for your landline. They used to have the all-in-ones. Is this it? No. Phone, all-in-one phone. Maybe if I type in 3.5 millimeter phone headset. Maybe it's just not a thing anymore. Like, I feel like I had just seen it. Like, they have the headsets themselves. That's the ending. It's not the same as the headset or the phone jack. What is it? Headphone jack. I don't know why I was at a loss for words. It's not the same ending. It's smaller. But on Amazon, I've seen where they have like the all-in-one combo so that you don't have to get an office phone. So like office phone would be something like this. And the other headset that I just showed you would plug in here. But Amazon has shown a combo before where it's like just one thing. It's the headset plus the dialer. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not a thing anymore. Because most jobs these days do take phone calls through the internet, but I'm sure there are some that still require you to have a landline. Hmm. So those are the main pieces of equipment that you need. Those are the main ones. You need your desk, you need you a headset, you need a chair, and then a computer. Can't forget the computer. Those are the things that you absolutely need. And I was mentioning that most companies are still kind of in yesteryear with the technology. So you don't have to get a brand new, M2 chip MacBook, that kind of thing. Windows 10 is where most companies are still at. I saw today a lead that said that they wanted an i3 processor. i3 is still, years ago. This one's an i5 processor. So 135 bucks. You don't got to break the bank. There's plenty of options here. And, you can upgrade as you go along. So that's equipment. That's equipment. And for the extra stuff, for like cameras and whatnot, that is another one that I would say is necessary because of your interviews. So, yeah, this would be the one other thing that I would say absolutely gotta have the camera. Because when you do your interviews, you want to make sure that you're coming through as good as you can. And you can get cheap ones, but I threw away a camera because it was just junk. I got a $20 camera, not from here, but from Walmart. Walmart has this rinky-dink tech brand. I can't think of it. And I saw that they had a webcam for 20 bucks. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. Let me try it out and then maybe I can tell folks about it. It was terrible. It was a terrible camera. It was blurry. It kept redoing the thing, zooming in, zooming out. It was not good. It was very bad. So if you can, get you a Logitech. I have this camera right here. I've had it for years. It does the job. You don't have to do anything fancy, but you do want to make sure that when you get in those interviews, you look good. And let's see how much this one is. $39, 40 bucks. 40 bucks, you'll look good. So we're still under $500 for everything that I just showed y'all. Those are the necessities. The necessities. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the deck. Wow, 2.5 hours. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, I'm going to try and get through this deck, real quick, and then we can just chat for whatever questions you guys have left. Okay, so we talked about what you need for your home office. All right. So what about interviews? I told y'all everything is just seamlessly gliding into the next thing. So one of the things that people have an issue with is how do I get past the interview stage? And this is where a lot of folks end up stopping, like they get out of the running because of their interview. And if I could give you guys a few key things to focus on, let me type it up right here. So one of the first things to focus on is your tech. So your audio, your camera, um, sound. I guess technically the background sound isn't, in tech. So let's keep it with audio and camera. And then I'll just add, I'll put that as the next thing. Okay. You want to make sure that you're clear and you want to make sure that they can hear you and see you fine. And also with that, your internet connection, okay? Because that does go into tech. I told y'all I was doing interviews yesterday. And for like the first few minutes of one of my interviews, the guy's camera was, well, it wasn't his camera, it was his internet connection. It kept freezing. So I'd be like, hello? And then I'd hear him and it'd be like jumbly and he would be frozen. Hello? Oh, I'm trying, all the fuzzy and all that. And that's frustrating. That's the wrong foot to get off on. And this is coming from me with all my technical difficulties. But I'm telling you guys, you wouldn't want the technical difficulties that I started off with today to be going on in your interview. Because I remember that more than I remember a lot of the other stuff that we talked about during that interview. So that's why it's always good to try and do a test run and don't open up anything that you haven't tested out. My screen started going weird when I tried to present this on one screen, and I hadn't tested out presentation mode before I went live with y'all. I tested out my camera, I tested out my audio, but I did not test out what happens when I open that. And sometimes programs cross hairs or whatever. So that's why anything that you are going to be doing in an interview, just do a dry run before you get into that interview. That way there are no surprises. Yeah, so there's no surprises. Let's see. Oh, Tamara, this is just going to be one video, and you'll be able to like jump forward and stuff once it renders to YouTube. There's going to be one long video. So you'll be able to jump to the part when you have to jump off. But thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming. Okay. Now, the next thing is, I already told it, do a test run. Open any apps, programs, you name it, before you do your interview. Okay. Next thing you want to do is log in early, because time you need to do an interview, guess what your computer is going to want to do? It's going to want to restart. So log in early. Maybe 15 minutes is good, but if you really, really can get on there early, maybe 30 minutes. Anything beyond that is a little too much. In 15 to 30 minutes, you can let your computer restart multiple times and be ready to go. Okay. Now, for the actual interview itself, and you guys are going to think that I'm giving you, just too oversimplified of a tip, but I'm not. Interviews are conversations. They're professional conversations. They're cordial conversations. They're conversations about work. And sometimes it might be, oh, how are you doing? Oh, how's the weather there? Icebreaker type questions. Oh, it's good. It was raining. Yada, yada, yada. But then you get right to business, if you even do any of that stuff. Okay. So interviews are conversations about work. Keep it that way. If it does go off to, how's the weather, what you've been doing, which it most of the times really won't outside of the weather, don't you be the one to take it there. If the interviewer mentions that, oh, how's the weather? Oh, it's sunny, whatever. But you're not the one who's going to be asking about all these other things. And when you're having a conversation with someone, it's a nice back and forth. The conversation that you would have with a friend or with a coworker or somebody is someone says something, then the other person says something. Interviews are actually kind of easy because you don't have to come up with the something you're going to say. We already know the kinds of questions that are asked in an interview. Tell me about yourself, work history, name a time questions, biggest accomplishment, work wise, all these are work related. So when it comes to these conversations for companies and interviews and stuff, always think it has to do with work, because when they ask you, tell me about yourself, we always want to go to the work part of ourselves. They're not asking us to tell them about, oh, I've been married for 4 years and, I have 10 kids and, that kind of stuff. Those are nice things that you'll find out about each other if you get hired. But you always have to remember, just like with resumes, you have a very limited scope of time to talk and or not to talk, but to get the attention of the hiring manager. In interviews, you have a very limited amount of time to get out that you're the best person for the job. So that's why we don't want to go on any of these other tangents. We want to keep it work related. Even if they take it on a tangent, learn how to loop it right back to work, because that's how you're going to stand out, because they need to find someone who can do the job. And if you don't do a good job in your interviews expressing that you are knowledgeable about the position, the company, what you bring and what they're looking for and how that's a good fit, you're not going to stand out. So I know this is like the quick, fast cliff notes of interviews and stuff. I do have more training on interviews I can tell you guys about, but this, if you remember anything, just keep that in mind. And, with interviews, a lot of times it's the nerves that sometimes make us sort of either do word, like we just blurt out everything we think about, and then sometimes we clam up. And like after the fact, we're like, oh man, I should have said something, or I forgot to say that. That's why rehearsing and practicing different talking points, but not verbatim what you're going to say, is very helpful with interview prep. If you can just go through common interview questions and you can think about, if they ask me about name a time that I had a challenge, and I know I've got like 3 different times in my head where I had a challenge, and I know exactly how it started, some of the hurdles, how we fixed it, and ultimately saved the day for the company or whatever, then I'll know how to tell that. But don't rehearse it word for word. That's what I mean by verbatim, because it's going to sound robotic. And then if you get a real, sassy interviewer, they're going to throw you a curveball. They're going to ask you a question that they know you probably didn't practice. So just always kind of think about common interview questions, practice, some of the things that you can cite, and keep it short and to the point. So for the folks who clam up, you don't say enough. But for the folks who can chat, okay? And I know about the folks who can chat, because I've been on here for, almost 3 hours. You got to learn how to get to that point and back away, because you got other interview questions to get through. So there's an art to interviews, and that is something that a lot of people are challenged by. Okay. I think y'all are still with me. So question 11 that I always see is how to get hired with job gaps. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. Okay, there's a couple ways you can go about getting hired for jobs if you have a gap. So gaps, first and foremost, are very common. Everybody who has ever worked, depending on, your circumstances, will at some point in time either have to back off from work full time or take a step back, or life changes, whatever. Not everybody, but a lot of folks, I should say. Mainly women, because guess what we do? We have children, and daycare is very expensive. So a lot of times it's moms who don't have like a seamless work history, because we say, hey, if I put my kids in daycare, that's going to cost, an arm and a leg. I'll just stay home. And, for a while we can make it work somehow. So if you do have a gap on your resume, you can go about it a couple of ways. So, number one, you can go for a no experience job. I know you have experience. And you know on your resume there's experience, but you may want to just focus on no experience jobs. Those are the jobs that say no experience. Those are the jobs that say 0 to 1 or 2 years. Okay, those are the jobs that are truly you don't have to have any experience. We're going to train you, and I share those all the time. Okay? Now, another way you can go is you can go the 1099 call center route. So, Working Solutions, that's a company that I've talked about a lot. Arise, okay? Next Rep. These are companies, just for example, that are pretty simple to get started with. The most important thing is either an assessment and or taking the training. Last time I checked, you still had to pay for training with Arise. Working Solutions doesn't require you to pay for training. Next Rep, I don't believe requires you to pay for training, but a lot of these things are constantly changing. So, y'all might know the latest details better than me, but I know for a fact Working Solutions does not require you to pay for training, and they'll even give you a stipend for some of them. So the reason why I would say go the 1099 call center route is because, like I was saying, it's either an assessment. So like you have to take a test to get on the website or pay for training. Those are the two biggest hurdles with 1099 call center type jobs. So if you can pass the assessment on Working Solutions website and they are eligible to hire you in your location, then you could take that route. And it's really simple to get started with these companies that I'm naming because they hire a lot of people all the time. I call them they are what they are type jobs. It is what it is. No one's retiring with a gold watch and all of that. We know what time it is with these companies. They serve a purpose. So those are the two routes that you can take if you have a gap. Now, the third route, which you're probably already doing, and that's why it's frustrating, is you can attempt to pick up where you left off. You can try and get hired for a position that you know your experience would qualify you for. The only issue is all of these companies are, kind of what have you done for me lately types. So if you are applying to a job and you haven't worked in 5 years or 2 years, and someone else is currently employed and they're applying to a job, they're likely to go with the person who's been working because number one, they have relevant recent experience. Number two, they know, hey, if this person is already working and they're looking for a job, they might be kind of more proactive about work, whereas they don't know your story based off of your resume. And it's not that everybody who has a gap never wanted to work or whatever. It's just your resume doesn't tell the full story. Someone got sick and you start taking care of them. You got sick and you couldn't work. You had kids and you guys said stay at home with the kids. So your resume doesn't really give that info. And that's why, even though it might not be your case where you don't have any issues with working, they don't know that. So that's why I recommend these two options. Go for truly no experience. Send in your resume with your experience that you have and go for no experience, or go for the call center work. Now, with the 1099 call center job, if you add that to your resume and you already have experience, but maybe you took some time off and you have that gap, when you have that recent experience, you may want to test out applying to those jobs that your experience qualifies you for. So, like if you worked in insurance for 5 years, but you took 2 years off, and then you start working in a call center, and now you have that recent experience. You might want to try, hey, let me see what happens if I apply to an insurance job that meets my years of experience. And you can see what happens. You can see what happens. So I just explained, a strategy. You got multiple options. Okay. So let's take a quiz. All right. Let's take a quiz. And then if there are any things that y'all want to talk about further in the chat, we can. Question number 1. You didn't think I was going to give you a pop quiz, but here we are. Okay. So what does it mean if you click on a link to a job and you get an error message? We didn't talk about this, or did we? I want to know what y'all think in the chat. Everybody needs to be answering. There's 52 people on here. I need to see 52 answers. 53. What does it mean if you click on a link to a job and you get an error message? Some of y'all are going to get an F for participation. If I could give out Fs, I'd be giving out Fs. And some of y'all get A pluses for participation. So yes, the job is no longer available. It has closed, okay? The job has closed. Oh, mom of 3 girls gets an extra star, okay? Now, this isn't always the case. It's not always the case. But let me tell y'all, okay? Something that I'm not I guess people don't know, but whenever I share jobs, okay, and I give you guys the direct link, it will work. I never post a link on my channel that does not work at the time of me posting it. Now, when companies get all the applications that they want, they will close the job. So you'll see in the comments, that closed fast. They already closed it. I was in the middle of my application and it closed, that kind of stuff. Okay. If you click on the link and it does not take you anywhere, okay. So, the link gives you an error message. I've seen that. I've also seen it for some reason, and I'm not really sure what platform these companies are using to host their jobs. Sometimes it'll actually change it to have a message on it that says for internal applicants only. And people will be in my comments saying, oh, this is only for internal applicants. And you can clearly see the video, it wasn't for internal applicants. Like I said, I'm not sure what, software they're using to host their jobs, but that seems to be like the way some companies close their leads, where like, okay, we're not taking any more external applications. It says for internal only, but that means the job has closed. And you can see that the job was once open for external applicants. And then in some cases, sometimes companies, I think they're like genuinely confused. Why all of a sudden are they getting so many applications? They sometimes, okay, I'm going to put sometimes, they change the link. And you can still find the lead by searching their website. So you can find the job by searching their career website. But this is sometimes, okay? So if you say, oh, the link doesn't work anymore, and then you run to their careers page and you search for that title and it's not there, then it has closed. But every now and again, some companies, they just change the link. I don't know how they do it. So that's something you can do, but it's not something that they often do. 9 times out of 10, it's closed, it's gone. You missed the lead. Okay. So leads don't stay open forever. And this is something that I think many people don't know, but that's why I have that as a quiz question. So if you watch a video of mine, even from a day ago, and you click on it and it doesn't take you anywhere, the lead closed. And especially if you're watching a video from a year or 2 years ago, those links are not going to work. Now, what you can do as a way to be resourceful, if you want to find more companies that fit with what you're looking to do, you can watch old videos and you can, search, okay, well, who hires for data entry? I want to get into data entry, but I keep getting denied. Let's see what some of the requirements are for past data entry jobs that Delilah has shared. And you can find out, okay, I need to work on my typing because I watched 10 old videos that said you need to type 50 plus words per minute. I need to work on becoming an Excel and pivot table and, just all those things. I need to do all that stuff. So that's skill number 2 I need to work on. And you can figure out what kind of skills you need from using old videos. No, you can't apply to those jobs because they've long since closed, but you can still use your resources. Okay. So good job, everybody. All right. So next quiz question. You get an email asking you to take an assessment or to schedule a phone interview. How quickly should you do that? So you get an email saying, here's the next step. You made it to this next step. How long do you have before you take that next step? Tell me in the chat. I don't want to hand out any more F's for participation. Okay? Come on, y'all. Okay, yes. And I know some folks might be listening to this while they're doing something else. So I'm teasing y'all, okay? I can't hand out F's anyhow. And it would hurt me to hand out an F. So yes, okay, ASAP. All right, right away, immediately. Okay? You want to get that assessment done as quick as you can. You want to schedule that phone interview as quickly as you can. Now, when you are scheduling a phone interview, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about this point, usually you'll have the ability to choose from different times. You want to just quickly get to the place where you make your choice. So if they have openings for, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say I applied to that AAA job, which I did on here, and they sent me an email saying, hey, we want to schedule a phone interview with you. And I click on the thing and I see the calendar and I see all the times. If they have times for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, I can choose from any of those times because that's how long they're going to be doing phone interviews because they presented that option, okay? But what I don't want to do is I don't want to click on the schedule phone interview, see that, oh, okay, they have options for Monday. I'll just choose a time some other time. You haven't scheduled anything, okay? That's what you want to avoid. But you absolutely, when you see that email come through to schedule a phone interview, want to go ahead and choose a time that works for you. And if you want to choose the Monday time, if it's Tuesday like it is today, and you want to choose a time next Monday, if they have that, go for it. So that's what I want to clear up. Okay, that's what I want to clear up because you don't want to be unprepared. So if you know, oh, I got all this stuff going on and I won't be able to research the position and the company and all that if I do it ASAP, don't set yourself up for failure. But I will say, if you need you a job, like yesterday, do it as swiftly as you can if that's what you want to do. Yeah. So set it up. And that's another point. You want to make sure that you give yourself time to look into the position and the company and, go over the job lead and do all those things so that you are prepared. Even if it's just a phone interview, it's never just a phone interview because phone interviews lead to video virtual interviews. And virtual interviews lead to, either another interview or an offer. So every step matters. And if it's an assessment, that matters too. Don't just click through because you want to just get through it. If you don't have time to sit there and take the assessment properly, my advice is do it right or don't do it at all. So let's move on to the next question. How many applications does it take until you get hired? Is there a specific number of applications? Let me see what y'all have to say. Give me a specific number. How many applications? Or maybe the answer is no. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Okay. You guys are smart. There isn't a set number of applications you can put in. What's the number? We don't know. Okay. The thing about applying to jobs, and one of the frustrations of applying to jobs, is we never know which application is going to be the application. So there are some folks, they get on the computer, they don't do any research, they're not learning, they're just fiddling around. They submit something and now they have a job, lined up. They did the next steps and they got hired. And it's like, wow, that was so easy for them. But then it seems like, in our case, we're putting in as many applications as we can and no bites. Nobody's sending us emails for the next step, no phone, no virtual interviews, none of it. And it's like, all I'm doing is applying. But here's the good news, okay? So just like how someone can put in an application and they get hired immediately, every application you put in could be that, the one. It could be the job that you get hired for. And we can do some things to make ourselves more likely to be hired. That's why every time you apply to a job, customize your resume and cover letter. Okay. Every time you apply to a job, make sure that even if you're applying to your 50th customer service job, for example, and you have a customer service resume, make sure you are still customizing it to the specific company that you're applying to. Same thing with your cover letter. Okay. Those are some things that we can do to make sure that, okay, whenever I am applying, I'm doing it the right way. Now, another thing about, putting in applications, I can tell you from my own experience, when I was heavy into the job search before I got hired to be a tutor, and this was back in 2016. People have been working from home and stuff. We know that. But in 2016, even with it not being like a big, everybody does it type thing, it was still very competitive. And I would get up in the morning, like I was getting ready to go to work. I make me something to eat and I sit down and I would be on the job boards for hours applying to jobs. And I did not have a fancy way of keeping up with it, but I will tell you that I was putting in applications. Okay. And I'm not talking about 1 to 10, I'm talking about probably like 20 ish a day. Okay. Some days there weren't that many good jobs to apply to. And I wasn't even really trying to like figure out, is this a good fit for me? I needed money. So I'll make it a good fit for me. That's where I was at. And that's what I was that was the like number more or less of what I was putting in. I probably was putting in more, to tell you the truth. But it takes a lot of applications. And mind you, this was 2016, before everybody had to go home and work from home, and before many people discovered how awesome work from home is. A lot more folks have decided they want to work from home now. So it was already competitive. It's even more competitive. So my advice for the people who are like, but Delilah, I've been putting in so many applications. I know, and I feel for you, but keep putting them in. Because if you're being strategic and you're constantly, vetting out these companies, are they a good fit? Do I like them? Does my experience match up with who they're looking for? All of that stuff. And you're putting in applications, you're going to get to the one that hires you. So is there a number? No. Some people have told me I put in 200 applications. I put in 300 applications. It's really competitive, really competitive. But don't let the number of people who have applied to a job, or what looks like the number of people who've applied to a job, stop you from applying. LinkedIn, let me see if they still have that. Give me a second. I'm going to check it out. Give me just a second. I'm going to try looking for, I'm just going to test out what they have. Okay, let me show something to y'all. Okay. All right. So LinkedIn has on their job leads a thingy that tells you how many people applied. Y'all see that? Okay. Not every job board has that. Just giving you an example of like some of them will tell you how many have applied. I think maybe all of them tell you that. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is just a thing that LinkedIn offers. Okay. Now, not all the job boards have that. In fact, this is the only one that I know of right now that offers that feature, so you can see who all has applied. So, the thing is, don't worry about it. Okay. Don't worry about who all has applied. Okay. You said Glassdoor tells you as well. Indeed tells you. Okay, cool. And I'm always on Glassdoor. Let me see, because I never pay attention to that. See what Glassdoor tells us. Come on. There we go. Let me share this screen. Okay. Let me see. Where is it? I don't know. I must be overlooking it. I'm sure they tell you, but I just never noticed it. I'm not sure. But either way, I'm sure they tell it to you. I'm sure Indeed tells it to you. I'm sure they all tell it to you now. But, the thing is, we just don't want to get caught up in who all has applied to a job because, if it's our job, then it doesn't matter who's applied. If we're the right one for it and they choose us. So all jobs get tons of applications, all jobs. And people try and blame me for a job getting all these applications. Listen, if these jobs are on the job boards, plenty of people have been applying. And I don't even get, crazy, crazy views on my videos. So, don't worry about that. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. Okay. So before we do, I just want to make sure. Okay. Before we move on, I just want to make sure that I'm clear about this. Apply strategically and keep applying until you get hired. It takes a lot of applications, and it's very discouraging to feel like no one wants to hire you, but it's not you per se. It's more of the fact that there's lots of people applying for jobs. Oh, but let me tell y'all this, okay? Do I want to tell y'all this? Yes, I do. I want to tell y'all this, okay? A lot of times when people are applying to jobs, they aren't even being serious about it. So, let's take a job application that has 1,000 applicants before they close it. And then maybe 500 people get invited to take an assessment. And then from there, out of those 500 people who take the assessment, maybe 250 people meet whatever requirements that they want them from the assessment. And then from there, maybe they just take the top percent of all of those candidates to offer a phone interview. So somehow they whittle it down to maybe 50 people and they need to hire like 25 folks. Okay. And then when you get to that point, people have already eliminated themselves because they didn't do the assessment. Okay. So there's people who never even took the assessment to even be in the running to be the top percentage to move on to the phone interview. Okay. And then when people get reached out to schedule a phone interview, there's a percentage of people who never schedule the phone interview. And so once you get to the phone interview, there's a percentage of people who, they just don't get past that phone interview. And so if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, taking things in a timely manner, scheduling things, showing up for whatever, knowing about the position, doing your due diligence, you are actually a lot more ahead than you think. And I am telling you this because I am no stranger to doing interviews. And the amount of people who will schedule an interview after all the other stuff that they have done and they don't show up to the interview blows my mind. And this was something I was actually talking about yesterday because I told y'all I was looking for, a developer, another one to add to the team. And guess what? Out of the 6 people that I was supposed to interview, you know how many people showed up to their interview? I want to know in the chat. How many people out of the 6 that I was supposed to interview actually showed up to their interview? How many do you think? Two people. 2 people. That is sad. Okay. That is sad. 2 people out of the 6 who got to the point of an interview, and they scheduled it. I didn't. Here's the link. Do what you want with it. You're invited. They scheduled it. Only 2 showed up. Okay. I have done larger scale hiring for another company in the past. Okay. And I'm telling you guys, it goes without fail. There are always going to be people who don't show up at all. And they've made it to that part in the hiring process. So I tell y'all this to encourage you. Even when you see all those people who've applied to a job, you got to think about the folks who just sent the same resume and it wasn't even a good resume to begin with. You got to think about the folks who they didn't even apply with a resume. They just, scribbled something down on a document and just submitted it. Okay. You got to think about all the folks who they got the invite to the next step and they just didn't do it. So by the time you get down to the final steps, a lot of the people who are qualified and who want to do the job and are serious about it have been whittled down, and all the other folks have gone away. So don't get caught up in the numbers. Okay. Don't get caught up in those numbers. And I hope that encourages y'all to, don't think about it as who all did what. Okay. Just know that you got to do what you got to do. Okay. And last quiz question. Is it really possible for you, to get hired to work from home? Tell me in the chat what you think. Because I just want to know if you guys feel like it's actually possible. And I mean, I didn't even really get into a lot of stuff. We just brushed by some of these things, brushed by all of these things. Yes, it is possible. Okay. It is possible. I do a really bad job of highlighting all the people who tell me that they've gotten hired and stuff. I always comment and, reply if I see their comment, like, congratulations. But you guys, I put out so much content and I have a bunch of other stuff going on, not to mention that I'm a busy mom and wife and all that. I really don't shine a spotlight on all the people who get hired the way that I would like to. I just do. We only can do so much, but many people are getting hired. Don't let the comments discourage you when people are, feeling frustrated. It's normal, but many people are getting hired. And many people are, on their second and third job. Like in the last couple of months, probably 4 or 5 people have left me a comment saying, I've gotten multiple jobs from your channel. People are getting hired, and not just for one job. When they get done with one, they move on to the next one and the next one, because you absolutely can do that when you work from home. Absolutely. So it's possible for you to work from home. And one of the things that when I look back at when I was looking for jobs, and I told you, I'd get up and I put in all these applications, one of the things that I definitely could have done a better job about was really reading through the requirements and making sure that it was something I wanted to do. I told y'all I just needed me a job. And I was thankful that it was that job because I actually really loved tutoring. Like I tutored in college, so I wasn't new to it. But I had applied to pretty much all sorts of stuff, all sorts of stuff. So if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change getting hired as a tutor. But if I could go back in time to that very first work from home job, which was the tutoring job, and I did other ones since, I would just be more thoughtful and mindful about, does this company, what they want, speak and fit with what I want? And I would only focus on putting in those types of applications, because sometimes we're putting in all these applications and we're applying to jobs that if they reached out to us, we wouldn't want to do that job in a million years. But we're just applying, spinning our wheels. So that's why if caught my ready to work from home workshop, one of the very first things I tell y'all is think about like 1 to 2 things that you want to do from home and only focus on applying to those types of jobs, because then you're not going to be applying all willy-nilly everywhere. You're just going to be focused on, the 1 to 2 things that you want to do, being very strategic, not spinning your wheels. And if somebody calls you back, it's for something you want to do. Okay, y'all. Woo! 3 hours and 18 minutes. Now, just one more thing, because I do want to point you guys to a few of my resources. And I know some of y'all probably are interested in, like, I guess, more specific information about all the topics and things that we touched on. Give me just a moment, because I'm going to share my screen with some of the resources that I can point y'all to. So I need to find my links. Okay. All right. So we got that. And then I'll come back to the chat and see what y'all are saying. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to take a look at some of the resources that I want to point you guys to in case you want more information. Some of these are free, some of these are paid, but I do want to point the folks to it who want to know. So, okay, I need to switch my screen. Okay, so we already talked about this first resource, the mega list of jobs. Okay, so just kind of doing a recap of all the resources and some that I didn't show. The mega list of jobs really is your friend. You can come here, you can search it, you can find companies. If you feel like I don't know how to vet a job, then you can come here. Oh, that reminds me, we were going to vet Continuum. So let me scroll back up here and see, how do you spell Continuum? Because we're going to take a look at that. Because I'm going to show you guys real quick how to verify. I can't find that company. I just want to make sure that I'm searching the right one. I mean, I can't find that comment. Oh, there it is. Lola said Continuum. Okay, so that's spelled Continuum. Okay. So I am going to, first and foremost, let's see if they're on here. I don't remember them. No, this isn't a company that I have shared. Okay. And then let me stop sharing for a second and pull up my Google. Google shares all your location info. Got to be safe. I'm going to search it on Google first. And I'll share my screen. Don't worry. Oh, hold on a second, y'all. Okay. Where was that? Okay, continuing. All right. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. So, the first place that I'm going to search is Google. And that's the way the company was spelled. And so I'm searching through here and I'm getting movies, I'm getting some other stuff. Okay. And maybe, I don't know what this could be, Continuum CT. I'm not seeing maybe Continuum Innovation. That's an apartment complex. Okay. This is a good example. Okay. So you might be looking at a company that, shares a name with a bunch of other stuff, but typically and personally, if they're not on the first page, that has my eyebrow raised. Okay, so I'm going to see if any of these companies might be it. This don't really look like a company. It looks like an organization of some kind. So it's probably not this. Oh no. And then I don't know what this is. What is this? EPAM Continuum. I don't know if Lala's Treasure Finds is still here, but maybe because this does look like some sort of company. I don't know. But right now it's looking iffy. I'm going to search on Glassdoor for a company called Continuum, and I'm going to see what comes up. Okay. So there's this company, and it would most likely have to be this one, or it could be that one. I don't know, but this one only has 2 reviews, and it's okay, Lala. It's fine. But I wouldn't really trust it if there's only 2 reviews, and I think that was the Continuum. Was this the one? I don't know what this is. I wouldn't trust that one, so maybe it's not that one. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so maybe Continuum Innovation is the one. Let's see what they show on here. Did we see this one? Yeah, so this was the one that we had looked at before. Okay, so this is likely the company, and let's find out about them. Global innovation design firm. Okay. Yeah, let's see what they do. All right. So it looks like this could be like a real company if this is the one. Now, here's the thing. What is the email address that they emailed you from? Because that's the other part about searching for them. Let's say, for example, the email was for, again, we're talking about a company called Continuum. And I'm going to put this let me stop the share real quick so I can pull up a thing and type so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Give me just a second. Okay. So I'm just going to open up a new slide. Okay. Just to give you guys an example. All right. So the name of the company that we're looking for is Continuum. And so we just, Google search, and then we, just did a Glassdoor search. And, what we found is there seems to be a company called Continuum. So before we run to, do anything, we got to stop for just a second, because my next question is, what email address emailed me? Now, if a company's URL, which I can get the URL from that company that looked to be the one that was actually called Continuum. Okay. Now, if that company's URL is this, and this applies to every company, it's not just Continuum, they're just our example here. If this company's URL is this, then their email address is going to come from something like this. Bob at continuuminnovation.com. Okay. If a company is legit, their email address is always, it's never sometimes, it's never maybe, always is going to come from their domain name. You have to have your domain and your email is connected. They're never any different. Real recruiters don't email you from Gmail accounts or, somebody else's accounts. If they're doing work on behalf of a company, guess what they're going to be using when they email you? That URL. Okay. So a real email address from any company is going to come from that company, to where you could copy the part after the @ symbol and put it into the web browser, and it will take you to their website. So that would be my next question. Now let's pretend like, we did the Google search, the Glassdoor search. We see there really is some company with like the name sort of Continuum. And let's pretend like the email came, the email that they used came from here, but their branding and logo matched the branding and logo from, the Glassdoor account, which was this. Okay. I'll move this out of the way. And that. All right. So we have this branding and logo that came from their Glassdoor account and the website of a company that we believe to actually be the real Continuum. But then we see that the email that they emailed us from was not the website, which was, this is the correct one. And I'll put the correct one in green because I don't want to be confusing here. This is the correct one. Okay. But we got an email from this. So what do we do next? Well, what I would do is I would see, is it possible that maybe there's another email address or another website that redirects to that website, and maybe there's two different emails? I don't know. Let's find out. So then if I were to go back to the web browser and I put that in, and it takes me to a totally different company. Okay. It takes me to this company here, and we're just using an example, okay? But it takes me here, and we see like this isn't the same company. This is nowhere near the same company. It's totally different. Well, guess what? We know that the person who is talking to us is trying to deceive us because everything has to match up. Everything has to match up. So if I'm talking to who I think is Continuum Innovation, but the person who emailed me from, some other email address, then that means I'm not talking to the right person. I don't know what's going on here, but something's not right. And all we need to do is get to the point where we can say something is not right. Then we just move on. We don't waste our time with it. We get to the point where we can either say something's not right or everything is lining up. Let me go back to the chat and make sure that we are on the same page here, because I know I did that quickly. I know I did that really fast. But does that make sense to y'all, what I just did? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Sheila says she understands. Thank you, Sheila. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, Lola. Perfect. Yes. So this has nothing to do with just Continuum. This is about every company. Everything has to match up. The website, the email address needs to take us back to the website. We need to see that they're actually, a legit company. And I told you guys like hours ago in this class, which we're going to wrap up real soon. We're going to wrap up. Okay. But I told you guys, in my personal experience with looking for jobs, knowing that there are so many big companies out here, I don't want to risk it. Trying with a startup that might not be real, trying with a small company that's also, not real. There are so many big companies out here. I'm just going to go for the ones that can give me all this information for me to feel comfortable applying and giving my information to them. Okay. So wrapping up here, and mind you, this is just a beginner scratch the surface class. We can really get into some things, which is why I wanted to show you guys some of the additional resources that I have available in case you want more information about any of the stuff that we have talked about. Okay. So we were on the mega list of jobs. We know about how to use the mega list, and this is a free resource. Okay. The other resource that I can point you guys to is the software. So if you want to make resumes and cover letters, you can do the $1 trial. It's only $37 per month. And I'm going to be adding some more templates very, very soon. And you can find out a lot of information on here. Okay, there's a lot of info just to give you an idea. And, I just have a couple of the testimonials. Every time someone gets the software, something goes out. And no, it's at the end of the training for how to use the software. There's a survey. So I have lots of surveys where people are telling me that they enjoy the software. So try it out if you haven't already. It's just $1. Now, the other resource is this. This is the new one, okay? So this is my newest course bundle that I'm going to let you guys know about, okay? And this live is recorded. It's going to go up on the new channel, the second channel. once we are off of it, you'll be able to go back and watch it. And if you can't stay through, I understand. We've been on here for a long time. So if you guys are interested in digging deeper into some of the topics that we've talked about today, I have a bundle that I have never done before. If you have any of my courses, you know, you either had to get the resume and cover letter courses separately, and then you got all the other courses in a bundle, or, you know, you had to buy them all individually. This is the first time every single course I have created is in one bundle. So if you are someone who already has the other courses, but you don't have the resume and cover letter courses, then send an email to the support desk. But for the folks who, you know, you don't have the courses, okay? A lot of people don't even know that I have them. There are multiple courses that come with this bundle. So every course I've ever created, minus the old How to Find a Remote Job course, which I made that back in 2016. I haven't been selling that for like over a year and some change, okay? So all of these are updated. And you get the resume formula course, you get the resume remote cover letter formula course. So these are the two courses that I have not been taking any students into, because I already know if somebody has a question about any of the things that are in these courses, I actually have my email in those courses. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, you know, have all this time to do all this stuff. So these are now open again. And you have my own email and the, you know, support email where we will actually give you support for the resume portion of things versus the technical side of it. So once you take these courses, if you want to talk specifics, you know, I can assist you via email and get you clarity. My goal is so that everybody who gets those courses understands how to make a resume and cover letter properly. And then if you need to learn how to find jobs, because I talked about when you're looking for night jobs, for example, you'll find more if you know how to find remote jobs for your own location. I talk about that and how to find a remote job, and not how to find a remote job, how to find online jobs like a pro workshop where we actually demonstrate finding jobs. And then Ready Set Remote also goes over that, plus interviews. So we really dig into how to do interviews. And I really like Ready Set Remote. Like, I like all my courses, but one of the things about Ready Set Remote is there's homework and it's over a 5-day period, and you can't move on until you watch that training. So you have every single day mapped out for you. So you're not doing too much or too little, and you're really getting the process of finding jobs down to a science, and then like what to expect next. And then we also talk about how to spot online job scams. So just like how I showed you how to verify if Continuum is a legit company, we go in depth on these on job board websites and look at what are some real jobs and what are some fake jobs. And then work from home routine. I talk about once you are hired and you are working from home, this is what your routine may look like so that you have longevity with your work. And then we also have work from home equipment. I go over more in depth, if that's even possible, because I talked about chairs for like 30 minutes, about your work from home equipment. And then as a bonus, you get the 100 remote resume tips ebook. You know, this is just something, you know, you can keep in your pocket virtually or whatever, and look at some ways you can up level your resumes. And then we also have a private Facebook group. And I am not a Facebook person, y'all, but I'm a Facebook person because I want the folks who, you know, have my courses to know that like they can actually send something to me directly. And if it's something that you think is general and will help more than, you know, just you, that's a great place to like post on Facebook, because it's nice to have everybody who's looking for a job together and doing stuff together. And, you know, you can sound off on different things together. So I'm really trying to be more active with my Facebook, and I just don't. I don't think people believe me because I'm on YouTube literally every day, but I am not a social media Facebook person. I log in to share my video, but when it comes to like just doing social media, like I'm a spectator, not someone who really participates. So, the link to purchase these courses, I will add it to the replay, but I just put it in the chat box. And I'm not sure if you guys can click on any links or anything. But if you are interested, you can get access to all of these courses for just $127. And I said, you know what? Times are getting critical. I need to make this as economical as I can. And the two courses for the remote resume and cover letter formula, I used to sell these on sale for $197. So there's never been a price like this. And I know people tell you stuff all the time, but I'm telling y'all for real. So I understand if right now it's not in the budget, but I do realize that some people want to go more in depth. And we've been on here for almost 4 hours, and I scratched the surface on all of these topics. So if you want to get more skilled, want to be more confident with your work from home job search, you want to learn about how to actually make resumes and cover letters, and the software is a tool that complements this. So, like, I used to have the template that the resumes in the software are created based on. But when it comes to what information do I put on my resume and cover letter so that I can convey my work history properly, that's where you get into the courses. So that's the difference between making resumes in the software. The courses teach you what to put on your resume and cover letter when you make them. So these are all my courses, all my best stuff for $127. And I don't think I'm going to be changing this price for a while. So I know some of us have to wait till payday. I understand. And you can find more information about what is inside of each course because I have a nice little synopsis for each course. And you can kind of peek in to see like what it looks like when you're in my Teachable school. And yeah. So, and we also have testimonials. So I know I was talking about like I don't share a lot of testimonials on my channel because my channel is free, but these are actual testimonials from students who have purchased my courses. So some of these students have the Ready to Work from Home bundle, which is basically everything minus the resume and cover letter formula. Some of these students have the resume and cover letter formula, and we have videos where they tell you about their experience and, you know, even some like written testimonials. So yeah, it's been working for a lot of people. And I want to give as many resources as I can. And, you know, this is an option for the folks who want a little more. But if not, my YouTube channel, my mega list of jobs, and the blogs that I have on my website. What else? Yeah, those are a lot of resources. The mega list of jobs, my YouTube, and you know the other stuff on my website. You can make it work, but if you want to get more in depth, then the courses are your friend. Okay, so it is 3:46. I need to answer a few more questions if y'all aren't tired. I'm tired, but I'm going to keep going for y'all if you guys have anything pressing. But if not, we can call it good. And I have another video. Hopefully the leads haven't closed, but I'm probably going to post that after I put my son down to bed today. So probably like 7:38ish. Nikki said, what if we have already paid for the resume builder that we are paying for? These are just the courses. So the courses, this doesn't come with a software subscription. So if you already have the resume builder software, then it complements the courses for remote resume and cover letter formula and Ready Set Remote perfectly. So the software is the tool to make the resumes and cover letters quickly. This is the strategy side of the work from home. So none of it overlaps. It's more like hand in glove. Thank you, Vanessa. Oh, I clicked on Nikki. I was going to click on Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa. I'm glad this was valuable. Oh, you want me to scroll up to your question? I have extensive experience in administration, customer service, and data entry. I want to use that experience to apply for beginner claims processing jobs. Is that possible? Okay, so it depends. Every claims position doesn't want the exact same stuff. So, you might have a no experience claims role. You might have a claims role that wants you to have specific experience. And I'm going to go to my channel really quickly, and I'm going to see if I can find a claims lead and pause on what the requirements are just so we can see an actual example. Okay, so I posted a process claims job 2 months ago. And I'm sure there's other ones, but I'm just gonna click on this one. Okay. So let's see if I can get to the actual requirements. So to answer your question, what you always want to do is look at the requirement section, because that's going to let you know if your background in administration and customer service and data entry will be enough to make the bridge to a claims role. And not all claims positions are looking for the exact same specs. So this one that I pulled up, for example, it says years of applicable experience, 2 or more years. When they use words like applicable experience, it's kind of vague. And so that would get my wheels turning and think, well, they told me up here earlier in the description that I'm going to be working in medical, dental, and vision services. And I'm going to be following policies and procedures and, that kind of stuff, blase, blase. So then I would think, okay, do I have medical experience, dental, vision? Let's say it's no. Okay, well, have I ever worked, with policies and procedures that I have to specifically follow, or else I'm in hot water? Yes, I have. I've definitely done that. So then when we look at applicable experience, it gives us a little bit more context. And then we can say, they were vague there. And I feel like I've worked with, different types of policies and procedures in my admin role. I think I might qualify. I did it for more than 2 years. And then, it tells us claim investigations, claims processing, medical terminology knowledge. So maybe I know about medical terminology, because I did some self-study, but I've never really done any claims investigations or claims processing. So not, a perfect fit there. And then it says high school diploma or GED. And then we get down to the preferred stuff. So it would be nice if you have experience with dental and vision. It would be nice if you've ever ability to utilize a claims processing system, and then an associate's degree. So let's say I check off on, this right here. Maybe I check off on medical terminology, check off on the education and the associate's degree, but I've never done anything with claims or dental and vision claims, or anything in the world of dental and vision. In that case, Okay, it would be up to you to think, does my admin or any of my other experience bridge the gap to where it's not a total reach that a hiring manager would see me as a good fit for this role? Because they do mention the 2 or more years of applicable experience, but they keep it vague. They could have said 2 or more years of experience in claims investigations, in claims processing, but they didn't say that. So if I had your background and I wanted to get into claims processing, this would be a job where it could be 50-50, in my opinion. And because I have at least a shot without it being a total reach, I would apply to this one just based off of what you mentioned your work history is. Now, if this were to have said, 2 years of claims investigations, claims processing, and I've never done claims investigations or processing, then I would say no, because there's someone who has 2+ years that is going to apply to this and they would be a better fit. So that's why I say it always comes down to looking at the requirements. And if they keep it vague in the requirements and you can kind of bridge that gap with your experience, then go ahead and apply. And I'll tell you guys, the worst thing, the absolutely worst thing in the whole wide world that can apply or that can happen if you apply to a job is you just don't get a job. It's not like we're working with a limited number of applications we can put in. Like, oh no, I only have 100 applications I can put in. I better use them wisely. Now we want to use our time wisely. Like when I said we don't want to spin our wheels wasting our time, but we can always apply. So hopefully that answers. Okay, glad that helped out. Okay. The screen is super blurry. Okay, maybe it's because I'm sharing another thing inside of a share screen. Okay, y'all. We're going to wrap it up here. I'm hungry and I need to run to the grocery store and then pick up my son. And I had no plans on being on here for literally 4 hours. Okay. In 5 minutes, it'll be 4 hours. So I'm glad time flies when you're teaching and having fun. This is the stuff that I absolutely love to do. I don't call myself a remote work expert. I call myself a remote work enthusiast because I truly do love remote work and sharing information with people and, just, helping folks have a legitimate resource for work from home information. And, I've been blessed to be able to do it. So thank y'all so much. Share this with somebody. If you haven't, can you like this? This is on my new channel. And I'm trying to get, this channel, what's it called? Qualified for the YouTube Partner Program so that all the work that I do on here, YouTube can cut me a check, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube cut me a check. So anyway, I'm thankful that you guys have subscribed and are here because I told y'all I've been having issues with YouTube and I'm not sweating it. It is what it is. So thank you guys for watching and for all the folks who stayed the whole time. Thank y'all. Okay. And hopefully I'll see y'all tonight on YouTube. If not, I'll see y'all tomorrow. God willing. Ooh, I need to pop my elbow. It's like when I straightened it out and it's like I need to pop it. Anyway, okay. See you guys later. Bye.